What is up, everyone? It's Gage here. Welcome to Autism Sports. And we have a special guest today, Mr. New. Welcome to the show, my guy.
Hello, hello. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you came. We only talked a few days before. I did try to connect with some Lions fans to join, but obviously there's a lot of beef right now.
Oh,
And
they didn't want to come.
no one contacted me.
Oh,
To be fair, though, I had a hard time finding Lions fans that are at least civil and a little bit of understandable.
what is up with that, huh? What you know what I'm saying? Like maybe there's a reason these guys haven't been in the limelight very much. Like, what is going on down in Detroit? There, it seems like I thought these were all nice dudes. Like these guys are not nice people.
Yeah, at least there's some, but it's rare. It seems like more of a rarity now. Like the Lions fans, I used to have a lot of respect for them because of what they've been through. But once they got good, they started trashing not only the fans, but now you see Matthew Stafford like not calling him a Hall of Famer. I'm like, you realize that man kept you relevant when you before Dan Campbell and all the good guys like all the good coaches and players. Like Matthew Stafford didn't have any good
They
coaches.
forget they were going to
None.
get rid of Dan Campbell. And if it wasn't for pushback from people around the league like me, my wife, many other people that stood up for Dan Campbell and said, no, you're a failure of an organization, not a coach, and gave that man a chance because when they started out, until they got rid of Hawkinson, ironically, they were losing. They were losing. They were going to get rid of, they were going to can Dan that season. They were like
It's
0 and
one
7 or
season.
like that, and I don't know what the heck the deal was. It was like they were like he's not fit for it. You know what I mean? He's just a player, and there was a weird narrative going on, and a lot of us spoke out for Dan because we felt that same stuff. You know what I mean? Even though we're not Lions fans per se, like it sort of became a secondary fan, and then they made it on Hard Knocks, and you know what I mean, and got to watch some of that and really like bonded with it. A lot of people I think did, and I don't know, like it was definitely a really great story, but yeah, like like the fans have now like you said, there's like something in the water where it's like all the angry things they've always wanted to say are coming out, or maybe it's just all the angry people, or there's something
Yeah, I
kind of
think
coming
it's
out
just them feeling
bandwagon.
like top dogs now, and it reminds me of the Eagles. Yeah, I think the Eagles they have room to talk. They've been doing this for a long time. Doesn't mean I like the
I
fan
don't
base
I
because
don't
they
mind
are
that, yeah, right.
they're a
I
little
don't mind the
wild.
Eagles banter. Like the chirp from the Eagles, like I've gotten so used to it. I don't mind it actually. I didn't like it quite a few years back when we were in the championship against them.
Oh yeah,
Don't get me wrong there. That was a whole different story. But these days I kind of laugh. I kind of chuckle at some of them. I don't know. The Philly fanatic had me laughing today.
oh my, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Even even Elias fan, because I was like coming from a because he's talking all this shit like, oh, Vikings are about to get humbled. I'm like, bro, I forget who was Hula Blue, I believe was the guy. He's been making a lot of tweets at the Vikings fan base, and he was like, "Yeah, the Vikings need to get humbled." I'm like, "Bro, you realize we were projected to get 6 wins. We didn't make the playoff last year. Our rookie quarterback got out for the season, and we had Sam Darnold, which obviously historically he wasn't very good. At least until he got with Kevin O'Connell and his
No
old
one
teammate
knew
Josh
what
McCown.
he was. I mean, he was historically good like in college, but not in the NFL exactly. Like people, he was under that impression, under that kind of flight that he was this ain't a skilled guy. It was a bad oversight. I see what you're saying, kind of with that, like you know.
And I don't like to call out people, but I do call out people that are pushing it.
Oh yeah,
Pushing the
call him out.
like
Do it,
kind
Gage.
of like
Get him.
yeah, maybe that was a little bit of a call out, but
Yeah.
it like multiple posts. I'm like, I get it, it's a Vikings versus Lions, but it's like, dude, like if you're gonna talk shit, at least make it make sense.
I mean, let him talk. Let him talk, dude, because this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. And tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm a liar, pants on fire type of dude. All right. So 1998, I always go back to that because that was when my art stuff got broke a lot. that team, I'm looking back at it a lot, dude. I'm really, that team was smoking hot, dude. And they ended the season 15 and 1 or 15 and 2 or something like that, or 15 and 1, I think, or whatever. But
Yeah.
when I was looking at how they were beating people, it is just like the Lions. It looks just like the Lions. And I remember everything was slated to the point that we had t-shirts, like the whole state, the whole country had t-shirts made and everything, like, oh, they're going to win the NFC Championship for sure. Everything's for sure. And it wasn't for sure. So I'm letting them talk, dude. I'm just go ahead and talk, because you know what? It is really hard to cash that check. You could bring it to the bank, but that bank is a hard bank to crack.
U.S. Big Stadium. I know what metaphor you're using, but especially, well, actually, I guess we're being Detroit, actually. So I guess they won't be
Detroit,
big
but
fan day.
Just in general, just going to the playoffs, that's and winning a Super Bowl. Winning a Super Bowl is hard. It is hard. The Vikings have been there like so many statistical times that in my mind, it's impossible. This is the first time for the Lions, really. It's the first time they're even doing this as an organization or a franchise. So it's like, you guys might just get knocked back, and it might be like we were in 1998. And you might have to wait another 20 years before you even get another rip like this again.
Honestly, they would deserve that. I don't think it will happen. I think they're going to be good for at least a little while. But I I was talking to a friend. He's a Buccaneers fan, and I was like, you know what, man? Like, I'm pretty confident Vikings will win, but I'm never going to say it's guaranteed. But if we do beat the Lions, like, I could see them getting knocked down in the first round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because guess who they lost to earlier in the regular season?
Did they lost to the Bills? Was the only one I know.
No, they lost to Tampa Bay early week. I believe it was week 2. Right when they had basically everybody, and that was when they had Aiden.
Or no,
Aiden.
They don't have another loss. I thought they were only one loss. They have 2 losses.
I believe so. Yes,
they do. Okay, so they do have. Okay, so they're 15-2, or no? Yes. Okay.
No, they're the same record as us. I think we're both 14-2.
Okay, so we're both 14-2. For some reason, I thought they were one over. Oh yeah, no, we were. That's what it was. We had the division for like that half a day, or that day. That was right.
Yeah.
We had the. Okay, I remember there was something goofy there. Sorry, I'll let you talk about it. I just have to fix this. It's driving me nuts behind me.
Oh, you're good. But yeah, it's. Yeah, I feel really. It'd be ideal.
Like 2 of the lights were out, and it was like every time I'd move, I was like, "Why is that light out?" It's supposed to.
Yeah, that would be. Actually, I didn't notice it, but yeah, it's always good to be prepared and not, and eventually flickering could be a little. It can be a little distracting.
They kept doing that to me, yeah, and I was like, so sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
Oh no, you're good
you there, but you were right on the precipice of saying, what were we talking about? The Lions.
I think Tampa Bay. They're gonna be like everyone's gonna say it, like, oh, Tampa Bay's from the NFC South, like they can barely win a division. I'll say this, like, I'm not a big fan of Todd Bowles. I really think the Buccaneers could be 11 or 12 wins in if they had a new head coach. Because Todd Bowles, we both know, was one of the worst coaches. I think he's. The only thing I think he's riding the coattails of Bruce Arians. I don't really think he's that good of a coach, and I kind of put him as the line of Dennis Allen. He reminds me a little bit of Dennis Green. Like, he has some good coaches, he has some really great players, and he's kind of riding that. But the Buccaneers, they have Baker Mayfield, who I think should be MVP, and he got snubbed in Pro Bowl, which is very surprising.
Just as a record, I would have to say that would be the only reason why, right?
Yeah. I feel like don't get me wrong with this. Not trying to disrespect the people in the Pro Bowl, but I feel like the Pro Bowl is more of the popularity contest. And like, you look at even a couple years prior, Tyler. I'm trying to think of his name. The Snoop from the Ravens. He was their backup. Not Tyler Huntley, but the one of their backups. His nickname is Snoop, but he got in a Pro Bowl and he had more. I think he had more interceptions than touchdowns. I'm like, that is not a Pro Bowl player. Like, I feel like the Pro Bowl has some players are starting to realize it.
Are you sure that wasn't Huntley?
It might be, unless I'm thinking of a different Huntley. It might have been.
I'm pretty sure it was him. He was a fill-in, right? He came in afterwards, right?
Yeah.
They didn't, and yeah. And the only reason I remember paying attention because we had a bad year that year, and Kirk made the Pro Bowl as he does. And I was watching it because we had a couple guys in the Pro Bowl, and I don't think we were having a playoff season. I think I remember that was just the last one of the year before that, wasn't it? These last couple Pro Bowls.
Yeah, I think it was back in because it wasn't. I don't think it was last year. I think it was a year prior. So I think it was
ago,
2022, right? If I'm correct.
I think so.
I think it was. Yeah, and so yeah, the Pro Bowl has. I feel it just isn't the same Pro Bowl that we're used to. Like the best of the best are in it, and and you can kind of tell a lot of players got snubbed that shouldn't have.
Yeah, I was surprised Sam made it. To be honest, that as like a first ballot guy, as one of the first guys out of the NFC, you know what I mean? Because because from inside the base, the fan base, a lot of us don't know this, but outside of the fan base, every single person thinks like incredibly highly of Sam. They think they've got him right on par with Baker, pretty much. Him and Baker, they got as their 7-8s. I know you don't think that way, but because I know you got Baker way up and Sam down. But I do have Sam as the capability to get there. I don't think he's reached that I can't call him like there yet, because Baker's done it a couple years now where he's proven that consistency of high level play. And so if Sam just keeps the consistency up, I'm gonna go ahead and be like, he has the potential. Unlike some of the people in Vikings past who have gotten on these lucky streaks, you know what I mean? Like with Case Keenum, we always knew he was an undrafted guy. We always, when he was throwing those long passes, the longest he could go was 40, 50 yards. And that was everything he had. He didn't have these athletic wheels and all these tools that we're seeing with Sam that are kind of coming out that we haven't seen since USC or since his pro day. I went back and watched his pro day and stuff, whipping it in the rain, just unbelievable stuff.
Oh, I remember that. I was in high school watching that. Honestly, originally, I will say I was a big fan of Sam Darnold in the draft. I thought he's going to be a stud because just his arm strength. I liked him he seemed like a really good leader, which now is showing. I watched his video. I shared it on Twitter about him talking with Tom Brady. His whole demeanor just changed because he kind of seemed like a really shy guy. You can kind of tell he didn't have a lot of confidence, or he lost it.
I felt bad. Yeah, I mean that's why I was fired up as a fan to be like, no, I'm not. I mean, I love like I've told you many times. You know how much I love JJ McCarthy. I got jerseys and everything, and I never buy jerseys because I'm a broke man, and I got that. But it's like I gotta support Sam too, But I'm just focused on this year because it takes so much to get to a year like this. You could live a whole lifetime. I've watched people be born and then have children in the amount of time since we've had a season like this. I've literally watched people be born and have children and watch their children go up and possibly have a child. Like it's that rare. And so it's just like, I think the sky's the limit for Sam. I know a lot of guys are on the thing where he's earned himself a big contract here, but I think, if he does stick with the Vikings and keep the high level play, he's going to earn an even bigger contract. And he's going to also keep learning under the tutelage of KOC, which is a great thing for him that we're all seeing. And if he keeps doing that to a point, I think he will become that stud that you've seen. You know what I mean? I think he will be able to then be traded to a team and be ready to hold them up. And when then JJ walked right into his shoes, and everybody's happy at the end of the day here in 2-3 years, something like that, 1, 2, 3 years, however long that product.
Yeah, because obviously he isn't a long term. He's not the long term guy. Like a lot of people are saying, oh, like Colin Howard is like, oh yeah, you got to sign Sam Darnold with JJ. I'm like, bro, JJ hasn't even played, and he had don't get me wrong, I appreciate everything Sam Darnold does, and I think given the right team, I think he could be a very good quarterback. As you've seen, he just needs a good coach, needs a decent roster at least. But
see, I'm not on that train though. I'm not on that train where you're on. Like you're on more of like he's like a Geno Smith. A lot of people are on that train. They think he's only a product of the KOC system, and as soon as he's out of it, he will fall. And that's why they want to get rid of him. That's why they're like, that's why you hear people like, oh, well, even if he wins a Super Bowl, even better, get rid of him now. That's the best time to get rid of him because then you're going to get the most money possible. Whereas you got people like me who think if he stays under KOC longer, he will continue to get better and better and better. And not only will you be able to get like JJ will become better too. So you will have your franchise, a younger QB going up. Well, you're still winning with your right now franchise guy. It's like you get 2 franchise guys for the price of 1 almost here, because then when you get to trade the other one, they are ultimately ready to go hold up a team. I don't think it's going to have to be a special circumstance team if he can grow more, if that makes sense. Like if Sam can grow more, so if Sam can grow more than he is now, I think he can go to a team like a Browns team and actually have success, like actually pull them out of the dirt, or like a Dolphins team and pull them up out of the hardships that they're in. But like where he's at right now, it's like, if you get him right now, it's like, dude, you're kind of going to have to put him on the Rams, or you're going to have to put him on a squad where he's surrounded by coaching and talent and things. But if he gets a little more, you know what I mean, a little more along the way, but you never know. It's like you're saying, it's kind of in between the thing, and we got to see more. We do got to see more of it. And I think that's why you're seeing some experts say this, and you're seeing some experts say that, and everyone's all over the board with it. It's because it's like we got such a small sample size, and everybody wants to just go all in on their idea instead of being like, you know what, let's just ride it out. Let's ride it out, make the contracts, load them kind of back end heavy. Let's bet on our guy. Let's bet on Sam, and let's bet on him getting better, not getting worse. And if you bet on him getting better, that means that you're going to be able to trade him for at least a second, right? I mean, at this level of play,
Yeah, at
and stuff,
minimum, I would say at least I take a high second round pick.
sounds okay.
Now, obviously we have me and you have different opinions on the Sam Darnold situation, but both me and you both can agree. Like, let's enjoy the season. Let's enjoy the season.
Yeah, let's just enjoy.
Like, why do we always have to dictate like who's going to be a starting quarterback next year? What's the Vikings going to do next year?
And what does that put out? How does that help JJ McCarthy too? Like, how does that help anything for him? You know what I mean? Because now he's got to sit in the locker room with this other dude, and they got to have this energy like they hate each other because of us. And I don't want to create that. I really don't. I want to create a locker room of bonding and friendship and kinship, and everybody trying to get everybody to where they want to go. It's like we want to get everybody to where they want to go. We want to get a Super Bowl as the goal. And, ultimately then after we get a Super Bowl, it's like, then Brian Flores, it's like, then you can go, dude, stay till Super Bowl. Because it's like,
talk about it after the Super Bowl,
because you'll have a Super Bowl under your belt.
Like right now, there should be no discussions right now. Like I get it, you got to talk about it because it's interesting, but let's not force the agenda. Let's enjoy the season. It doesn't matter who the quarterback, whoever wins the Super Bowl. I just want to win the Super Bowl. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if it's Nick Mullins. Let's be real. Like
at the end of the day, if we win a Super Bowl, don't JJ McCarthy and Sam Darnold get the ring, right?
Exactly.
So we get 2 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks on the same team in a league that has like no quarterbacks. So we could that just means better for everybody. Like, I don't know. I think it's just good. And like you're saying, people should just sit back, pop it on cruise control, and enjoy this ride, man, this 2024-25 season, because it's going to end. It's going to end. And us Vikings fans have had a lot of endings where it's been heartbreak. And I got every bone in my body just expecting that and waiting for that. But then the bones are also sitting there hopeful, like, oh, what if? And
let's just ride it out. Let's enjoy the fact that we were projected 6 wins. Now, at the beginning of this season, before everyone was saying it, I was like, we're going 10-7. I don't give a shit because KOC.
What I had.
I didn't expect Sam Darnold to be this good. I was like, he's going to be at least good enough to help us make a run at the playoff.
Serviceable. Like, I was like, he's going to be like really good. I told everybody he's going to earn a contract. I was like, this dude's going to earn a contract at minimum here.
Yeah, I agree with that. And my ideal scenario, and this is the one scenario I do see. Actually, there's 2, but this is the one I see that's. If this is the scenario of JJ McCarthy automatically the starter next year, or we're going for someone like Aaron Rodgers or a veteran of that type.
You got a lot of people out there, Danny, Aaron, a lot of people. I think Aaron should coach, by the way.
Daniel's
Aaron, if you're hearing this, can you go coach, please? You're uncoachable, bud. Like, Either a team needs to make you the offensive coordinator of your own quarterbacked team or something, because it's clear, bro. No quarterback in this league walks up to their coach and taps them and goes, it's time to put the backup in. I don't. That's what he did on that last Jets game. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh shit, I didn't see that.
Yeah, he tapped out.
Yeah, I think like the only
Huntley
way
was the
Aaron
guy, I think.
Rodgers would like if the Aaron Rodgers would go to the Vikings, is him and KOC have more of an understanding. Like this is going to be more of like we're working together. You know, no one's above one another. Like I think the media, I think they go a little bit hard on Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's as bad as they make him out to be. You know, I do think he's a decent leader. But I think, yeah, obviously Aaron Rodgers in the past, like I'm saying more like past like 3 or 4 years, he's been a lot better as far as like being more of a leader and more coachable. But the media can go kind of hard on him. Actually, I kind of
media's
there was
horrible.
a big media outlet. I was like, let's just the media kind of does hate Aaron Rodgers because they do they have to have an enemy. You know,
They've
that's
hated him
eventually
since
Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers.
stuff. Since he, like, you know what I mean? Since the remember that when he got on their bad side when he was like, I don't know what's going on with that, but since the shot stuff or whatever, when they wanted the team shots and he said he was immunized or whatever, like since then he's had a pretty hard go of it. I will say, and I do feel bad for the guy sometimes. Like they really ream into him. Like I don't get why they do that.
Like, yeah, I think they go a little too hard. I can understand why people dislike Aaron Rodgers because obviously in the past he was very arrogant and he wasn't a leader. I will say for majority of his career, at least until. Like I would say, the past like 4 years. That's when he really started to become more of a leader and the player that everyone thought he was originally.
He did. That's what he said. And now they're like, oh, that's just Aaron, like just trying to ask for a lifeline because he knows that he's messed up so much. So now he's just like, please, I can mentor, I can help. And it's like he's just literally like Aaron's the type of guy. He doesn't need the NFL, dude. Like he can live a life without the NFL. And I don't think people understand that. Like, and he could be happy. Like he's not like a Tom Brady guy where he needs to be around the game and the guys. Like he can actually live, in my opinion, I think he can live a happy life without it and he don't need it. And so I think in Aaron's mind, I think he's like trying to give back, and if that story gets twisted, we might lose that mind. I would like him just to be a coach or something, or like come to a team and like and be coached or be with them, like and help coach the younger guys like that and really show that side of him, because I don't want to really see him just disappear and go from MVP to just.
That's why I kind of, if it can work out, because obviously there's a lot of tension in Aaron Rodgers, which can make it kind of hard to do this. But a part of me is like, man, it'd be fucking cool to have him as a Viking. Obviously a lot of people would dislike that, but I think he would, like, with our team. I think he would do very well. Like, look at the Jets. Like their ownership is dysfunctional. Like their organization's no good. So it really, I don't blame Aaron Rodgers for how the Jets season gone. I think it goes deeper. I think it goes to ownership. Like I heard something like the owner based off some of the players he signed off Madden because he got it from his son. I'm like, hey, is this a joke?
Well,
it felt like a comedy skit. Like it's kind of wild. Weird.
I don't know what they're doing over there, and they're just kind of getting rid of people in odd ways and odd. I do want their running back, Braylon Allen, though. I wish we could target him from them.
Oh, yeah. It's a Braylon.
We can get him, dude. Oh,
God. It kind of reminds me of Derrick Henry. Like, he has that big body, and he can just run for people.
Or Adrian Peterson, dude. He has a mean cutback. Dude, I love his – like, he also can catch. He just has, like, a nice cutback, straight run. I mean, he's not as fast as Adrian, obviously, or none of that stuff. But just with that size, like you're saying, like, he's just a big bucking ruck. And
yeah, he'll run through you, dude. He will not hesitate. He'll run through you.
I like him. I like him a lot. I do think though that Jets, that that it is an organizational thing, and you see it with Aaron. You've seen it with Sam when he was there. You see the change in both of them. You see an MVP in Aaron go over to the Jets and become a bum. You see Sam come out of college.
Average. He's not having the overall bad year, but you can see the massive difference.
Horrible.
And when a quarterback goes over there, like Sam Darnold was never a bust, I don't think. He wasn't the greatest quarterback. I won't say that, but I believe he was given, like, he started right off the gate, and he was one of the youngest quarterbacks to start in the league. He was 20 years old, and they're like, you're our franchise quarterback. Go out there and play. You know, and then keep in mind, he had Todd Bowles as his head coach. That's why I'm not a
Think
big
of
fan of Todd
everything that
Bowles.
you're saying though. Like everything that you're saying though, I want to make sure that Vikings fans are taking note of all these things that you're saying though, because all these mistakes that they made with Sam by starting him too young, right? We don't want to do that with JJ, I hope. Let's not get him out
Yeah,
there too young
he'll at
and
least
just
be a little bit
sacrifice
older,
him and
but
make him carry the franchise. Like I think that we could learn from the Jets' mistakes. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of people like are seeing like things like, and they're not seeing the other parts of it. Like how you're saying, you know, I think Aaron's good, you know, but the Jets have ruined him. But I think Sam is only so good, and it was only some the Jets, and it's like, well, you know what I mean? Like I think it's all the Jets. I think it's the Jets. I think they're just a bad place to play in, and I think that nobody knows what Sam's like top NFL tier can be right now because of how it got just so thrown off. And I
it
think the
got very
Panthers are the same
dysfunctional.
way,
And
you know.
Sam Darnold was never given a real chance until last year he was with the 49ers. That he actually had, that was the first time he had a good coach, and Kyle Shanahan.
Right.
You know, you look at the years prior, his first three head coaches. The first one's Todd Bowles. The second one's Adam Gase. He looked like he was tripping on mushrooms. And the third one is
who was over at Carolina? Wasn't there two coaches?
The third one's Matt Rule, who, you know, I think he's like he's coaching average in the college. You know, and
I
I'm
thought
like,
Sam won a couple over in Carolina until he had the interception game, right? I think he won some games over there. Like he started them off like 3 wins.
yeah, at the
4
very
wins.
end, like he won like 4 or 5 straight games. Like he played really well. He beat out Baker Mayfield.
And then he threw those picks, and then they benched him for Big.
Yeah.
Something like that. I can't remember, because he said he's seen the ghosts, right? And that was what really made everyone nervous.
That's a meme that he'll never outlive, unfortunately, unless when he start making a mistake. If he does, like, that's gonna come back.
I don't know. I think he might. I think he can. I think he can transcend it. He might be able to if he can.
Yes, if he can maintain.
If he can maintain, I think he can shake that. You know, it's like, Sam, you could shake that. Because that is something that will stick with a guy for life. You know what I mean? That's one of those things where it's like people will hold that, and like
people don't realize how damaging that can be to your psyche. Like I think, like with football players, we can put them a bit of a pedestal. But these guys are human, man. Like imagine if a joke that was told for years and years. Like let's say you play in the league, you know, and you said something, you know, you're young, you're in your early 20s. You know, we've all done stupid things in our 20s, and you said something that was told
right.
over and over and over and over. Every time you made one mistake, that joke was played over social media. And everybody.
Or like I was saying with Kirk, he didn't really say anything, but there was a narrative of he can't win in prime time. And it would just compound, you know what I mean? And he would be like, "Gosh, I'm trying to win in prime time," and that would make him practice extra hard and make him extra flustered.
And you can kind of tell the pressure got to Kirk. You can tell like he seemed very hesitant, like in some scenarios, by a little bit due to Mike Zimmer, but definitely I think the pressure got to him from the fans.
Congratulations of his. Sorry to interrupt. Did you see him? He got married. Did you see that, Mike Zimmer?
Yeah, Mike Zimmer. Yeah, I saw that.
Let's give it up. My goodness, that was creepy.
Yeah, it was that was cool to see. I just saw that. I saw the picture. It's like a bit. I'm not sure if it was like a poster, but it's like a big thing, like a big ring, or like
I thought it was a joke or something. Like I thought that was his little niece or like something like that. But I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, Mike Zimmer. He's Paul Belichick's path.
I was like, jeepers. He's got a really like beauty queen, young pageant, young wife now, and they're happily married. So I'm happy for him. I was
hey, I mean, if they're happy, that's good for them, man. You
live
know,
your life, man. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, Belichick is doing the exact same thing too, because I think his wife's, not his wife, but his girlfriend's like 30 or 29 or something like that.
Old Bill's, huh? Old Billy, like it's gosh, it's got to be tough to coach in this league. If old Billy is he going to get another job or what? He just got
hired at North Carolina, where Brad Johnson's son plays at.
Okay, perfect. That's perfect.
Because I think, like, especially with the younger girlfriend, I think he's more into the college thing now, because that's kind of where. That's what I'm guessing. I think that's probably where she's at.
For some reason in my head, I just pictured a frat party with like an old Rob Gronkowski and an old Bill Belichick and like an old like a Danny Amendola, like Dancing with the Stars coming on in, you know.
Like they could create a movie about that. Like Bill
The
Check's like
old
the head
group.
coach of the college team, and then next door Tom Brady moves in, and it's just like a war, kind of
Oh,
like
Tom
Neighbors,
still
that
looks
movie.
young. Yeah, Tom still goes to class. Oh my gosh.
Oh, now I want to the biggest topic we came to talk about is the Vikings versus the Lions. The biggest game besides the playoffs in the
Right.
regular season. The biggest
And
game
this is all
is
the marbles.
tomorrow
This is
night.
everything. Not only a championship of the division, but the conference title. Man,
Everything,
put
everything.
that big conference banner up there to get a week off. Ooh, to watch everybody battle it out for a week and put your feet up. That means a lot. Ooh, that would be a lot off the old ticker. I'll tell you what, I would save the ticker of a lot of Vikings fans. I think a lot of people are nervous like me. How about you? How are your nerves holding up and everything?
I'm in the medium. I feel good, especially what the Lions have made it easy, especially seeing how they play against the 49ers and the week prior. I'm like, they seem pretty beatable. They don't seem invincible, and I feel with where the Vikings are at offensively and defensively, I feel phenomenal. And I say Dan Campbell, and this is a statistic I love. I just absolutely love because I like Dan Campbell kind of coaches like he's playing Madden. He goes
Oh,
for it
get the
45%
live by
of the
the sword, die
time.
by the sword thing. I remember Brian was talking about that a bit. Ways to combat it. Brian was. I'm not sure everything that he said, but he said he has a plan. He was saying that like he mapped out Dan's game style, and he's gonna try to like stop that because he's like it's new, and not a lot of people have really fought against that style and had a lot of success, and that's why the percentages are so big and all these things. But um, he said I'm gonna have a plan. So I'm excited
Brian
about that.
Flores he's a master. So I have no doubt in my mind that he has a plan to kind of neutralize Dan Campbell to say, because the Lions are beatable, and Dan Campbell he's going to make mistakes of thinking he can run over us, and that his plan of bite the kneecaps and trying to run for the Vikings, you're not going to do that. The Vikings defense, in my opinion, is top 5 in the league.
We
And
got to we got to
Brian
match
Flores
them.
is a Super Bowl champion defensive coordinator. Like, I think the Vikings been saving up their energy because it feels like they're going 80% these past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Coda on the podcast last week mentioned this as well. And they haven't been going 100%. And I think we're about to see Vikings in full gear tomorrow night.
We're gonna need that.
And we can finally put to rest. The Lions fan can't talk nothing if we beat them today because we be number 1 seed and we would won the division.
Right.
So there's no
And then we
talk.
could steer clear of the Eagles and we could steer clear of the Buccaneers. 2 dangerous teams I do not want to really tangle with that much.
Nah, not Tampa. Like Tampa Bay and now the Eagles. Like with Saquon Barkley, without Saquon Barkley, I wouldn't have been as worried. But with Saquon Barkley, he's a dangerous weapon.
Yeah.
And,
And that
and
O-line,
Baker
man, they can just
Mayfield
move.
and that offense coordinator, Liam Cohen, that are one of Sean McVay's underlings. He's been very phenomenal. But I will say that I'm not as concerned with the Bucs. Offensively, I am. Defensively, no, none at all. Because their
Vita Bay over
defense
there.
with Todd Bowles is weak.
I like Vita Bay. I like a couple other people, but like you said, like what worries me is the ability of Bake to get the ball down the field in a blink of an eye. Dude's got a rocket arm. But I mean, first, obviously, you got to look right in front of you and hopefully avoid that and make the Lions play through that crap. Like you guys can
I
play
think the
through all
Bucs
that
can beat
stuff.
them. I really do. I think the Bucs can beat the Lions. I think they're about even, like because obviously Todd Bowles and their defense struggling, but so is the Lions, and they both have powerful offenses. So I think that would be a gritty game, but I think the Bucs could win.
That's why I would like to put everything on the line here for this game. And I'm saying that we got to match the lines because there's a couple keys I've seen to them. So here's what I've seen. And if you get the notes, pass it on. Pass it on to the coaches on our staff. Pass it on. Because here's what these lines are doing. I broke down a bunch of tapes. I sat for a long time. Every game that these guys are down, every game that the Lions are down, halftime they come back. You know what they're doing, man? They're out there hitting so hard that these other guys want to give up. And then the other team's defense doesn't come back on and hit just as hard, because that's the message you got to send. If they're gonna come out there and start hurting you, then you got to do the exact same. So that way, when the offense is coming back to the sidelines, they're like, "You guys chill out. You're getting me ripped apart out there," because it's just one side, and that's what they're doing. They're like, it was even after, I believe it was after the Bills game too, some people spoke out and stuff. Like, even though they won, they're like, man, they're putting their fingers places. They were doing all kinds of things. When they start falling, they will do anything, and I mean anything, to get that lead back. And when they get it, they will keep on the gas. And so
that's
you
why
have
we
to match
need.
that defensively.
There's a player that can set the tone specifically. I think the whole
We need
Vikings defense can, but there's one man, and he is known as the Hitman.
If he gets a pick or lays a rip right off in the beginning, that will set a tone
I think
and a
not
precedent
only
for the
that,
game. Jared
I
Goff
see
is
he
terrified of
can
that
hit.
man.
That man can hit fucking hard,
Oh
man,
yeah,
and
he get
that's
hard.
we got the Hitman. And I want to see the aggression from Harrison Smith.
Me
That's
too.
why we need a bet. That's why he's on this team. We need him to.
It's your big year, man. This is it. This is the year, bro.
We're gonna get him a ring. We're gonna do everything possible.
Oh, I hope
And
so.
not only that, we got Kyrie Jackson guiding us. Like, I feel like him
Bud
passing
Grant,
away.
too. Bless both of them. Because we can't forget about Bud. You know what I mean? Everybody got his patches on too. I think they got the KJ patches and the Bud patches still on. I think they're still wearing them from the year previous. The Bud.
Yeah. We definitely need to get a win for both those guys. Because Kyrie Jackson, he was really young when he passed away. A drunk driver hit him, and we got to win for him, man. I believe that's why we're playing. This is the best season we've had since '98, or I would say 2009, but the record-wise, 2098.
This is the 98. That's when I tell people, it's since I've been, dude, I was a little kid, man. I was only 13, 14 years old. I think it was 14, running around, man. And I'm 38-year-old man. And I remember all you young kids out there, whether you're 14, 25, 23, 22, 21, something like that. 14 through what would be 18. Isn't that the school years or something? If you're in that age, or even if you're like 21, 24, and you're thinking to yourself like, oh, they all have time. They'll get one. They might, like, it takes a long time. So that's why it's like the time is now. That's why there's guys like me that are not thinking about JJ 2025. We are thinking Sam 2024. And right now, if JJ comes back and he's back up for the playoffs, great. I don't think he's going to be ready for nothing like that. I think they did put Daniel Jones on the third person of the roster, which makes me happy there. And I think other keys is got to shut down Jahmyr Gibbs. Number one. The run game, make Jared Goff pass.
We shut him down. It's over.
Last 4 games that we have lost to the Lions, we have lost. Guess how many passing touchdowns that the Lions have? Over 4 victories over the course of 4 of them.
I would say probably like 10, maybe 10 to 12.
8.
That's
2 a game. Out of those million points that they get, that's only 2 passing touchdowns a game. You shut down Jahmyr Gibbs. You shut down Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is going to be the long stuff.
He's trying to been shut down. Like, he's still making progression, but he's more of a block. He's been blocking a lot, so he's not really much of an equation. Dude, like, we have Brian Murphy, we got Gilmore, who's a Super Bowl champion, and he still produces at a very high level. Like, we can shut these guys down.
We shut them down, dude.
Gibbs does not have Sonic no more. Sonic and Knuckles aren't together anymore, so we can shut these guys down. And I think it's going to be a gritted teeth. Like, we're rivals. We're not going to destroy them, but we can definitely beat them at a high rate, because I see a lot of holes in the Lions team. They can call us rods, but I'm telling you, I don't see as many holes in us than I see in them.
I mean, I could see it. I could see where people could see where, we could exploit the Vikings here. But I also, like you said, I could see it on the Lions too. We can exploit them. We can lock them down. We have enough cornerbacks to lock down their main guys. And if it just is like us versus Sam Laporta, like, and JMO, if it's Sam Laporta, Jameson Wilson, and freaking JMO, what is his name? Jameson Williamson. Or is it
Yes.
Williamson? Williamson. Okay, yeah. I got so used to calling him JMO all year. I forgot his whole name. That guy, he's explosive and stuff, but I don't think he's a guy that's gonna like be the game breaker. You know what I mean? Like the main target share guy. Like, and so I think if you just can contain St. Brown and for sure contain Gibbs, if you can contain the run, like, and make Jared have to pass, that's always been his flaw. That's always been his thing. And
That's why the Rams traded him away.
Right.
That's why they couldn't win a Super Bowl with him, but they could with Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
Like Jared Goff, there's a reason why he got traded to the Lions. Like, I'm not saying he's a terrible quarterback. I think he's decent, but he has weaknesses, and he has a supporting cast. That's why he's playing so great, and he's made his decision making has been better. But once he gets enough pressure, as you see in the Texans game, he threw 5 interceptions. That's against the Texans. Like, the Texans are 9-7 right now. Like, you don't think we can do that?
I do. I think we put the pressure on them, and I think this too. I think we don't bite on the play action. Know it's coming. Know that Jared Goff is going to be like Kirk. He's going to master the play action and work off the run. You take them two things away from him. You take the play action, short pass scheme out away from him, and don't bite on that, and know that he's going to roll out and just chase the roll. You know what I mean? And play the contain and then get the sack after, and then always spy the running back. I don't think the dude can really just stand back in the pocket and deliver all day. I think you can
Not
get a
all
couple
day.
in a row,
No.
and if you let that break your spirit, it'll mess you up. But if you just stick the course, I think it eats away at them. And then if you match that level, because like I said, like when I watched all those tapes and they came back, dude, that was what teams were doing. They were stopping the run essentially, and they were making Jared pass, and they were beating them, and they weren't scoring. Like, they'd get some field goals in there, and then they'd come back out halftime and they would all of a sudden start scoring a bunch. But it would always start with their defense getting a big turnover, a big knockout, a big play, and you would start seeing these big hits too. And I just think that they start to play with such a violent aggression that it just zaps.
That's kind of the mindset in Detroit, for better or worse. That's their mindset. The one concern I do have is Sam Darnold forcing the ball. As you see in the previous games, sometimes like he's done overall great, but like sometimes he'll throw in like triple coverage and he's trying to get to Justin Jefferson, like like a 50-50 ball, and it just doesn't work, And so Sam Darnold, take the shots when they're open, but if they're not open, don't do it. This is not a team you want to force a ball to. Because Justin Jefferson, he's triple covered. Do not throw to him. That's kind of what the one thing Sam Darnold still kind of continues to do is force the ball into coverages that he shouldn't throw the ball into. So
I'm not.
I think he's preparing for that. He's definitely improved since the beginning of the season.
I haven't seen it in the last 4 or 5 games.
Well, last week, like it was towards the. I think it was when.
I feel like Brady was really critical on him, though,
like
man.
There was a couple times he went for a pick.
Like I watch Burrow and I watch these guys play though, and like I feel like if you're watching for that, like if you're watching for him to throw a bad pass, like when I watch Burrow and I watch Mahomes and I watch all these guys, they throw into triple coverage, double coverages, and just because it never gets called out. And I think people have like a microscope on Sam to where they're like watching the whole game and they're just waiting for that one bad pass so that they can go, oh, there's the ghost guy. There he is. That's the guy right there.
Yeah. I don't think they need to go that hard with him. He's playing good, but yeah, that's the one. That's the one main concern I do have. Like Sam Darnold, just don't force the ball, man. Don't force the ball. Like I think it's thoughts when you see him.
Make it open. You know what I mean? Like, you would think so, right? Like, I mean, having as many players as we have, and with Jalen Naylor that last game,
and we got Jordan Addison, we got TJ Hawkins. I really want him to have a game. He deserves it.
He needs one.
Well, especially this game. That he hasn't faced the Lions since Joseph tore his kneecap.
Yeah.
Like,
And I still don't. I'm not comfortable with them too, with Ryan Branch and Kirby Joseph.
no,
I'm
but
just
TJ
not.
Hawkinson, I want to see the aggression out of him. Like, man, I will not. I'm going to
Hopefully,
get
he's
my
not like
revenge because
worried. You know,
you made me stay out for a whole year. I want to see that type of anger in him in that game, and I want to see some really good plays. Like, I could see that because Joseph, I don't even think he made the Pro Bowl, even despite all the votes he got. Like, I think it was the players that didn't want him there, if I'm correct.
I wouldn't want him there. Like, I'd be playing flag football, and the dude would hurt me somehow. Like, I don't know. And then you would be like, dude, it was just I was going down, and I was trying to tackle the right way. It was the way I was coached.
Yeah, Joe, you see what he did on Instagram? And this is kind of go back to Matthew Stafford saying, but I think he said like fuck Matthew Stafford or something like that. And I was like, dude, you know who you're talking to? Talking to the Lions legend, Matthew Stafford. And the fans kind of egged it on. I'm like, you guys gotta have a little respect for Matthew Stafford. Like
They
for
don't
15 years,
anymore.
he kept you
They
guys
don't care.
relevant.
They don't even care. And they chant Jared Goff. And this is where people like you and me know that because of that big contract they gave to Goff, it's slowly going to eat away at that team. Because for Goff to be good, you have to have all those moving parts around him. You have to have the Penei Sewells of the world. You have to have the tight ends that are able. That's why we got Hawkinson. In case people don't know, it's like, dude, Hawkinson couldn't block like Sam Laporta could block because he wasn't like Dan Campbell wants you to block as if you are not a pass catching tight end. He wants you to block and bust your hands and stuff. And you know, and he got a young moldable mind in Sam Laporta to where he could do that. And it seemed like maybe it wasn't blending well with Hawkinson. Now Hawkinson struggles in the beginning with his blocking. I feel like he's gotten a lot better with it. But I don't think he's a bad blocker, none the sense, but I just think Dan likes, like you said, it's that whole culture and play style. They're going to run through you. And I don't think that Hawkinson fit as well with that mold as they had.
Nah, he looks like a Viking, man. Like he has the Viking blood in him, man. He's meant to be with the Vikings.
It's weird.
He's a Viking through and through. I never really realized that until we got to the Vikings. I was like, oh shit, he does kind of look like a Viking.
Sam also, they all a lot of them look like Vikings. If you were to line them up and put Viking gear and like furry shoulder pads and some stuff on them, dude, they would all look like
Andrew Van Ginkel. He looks like a Viking too, man.
As I was saying, Van Ginkel, Sam with his red haired and red beard and stuff, all them guys, and then you got like some of the I can't remember.
Now if Thielen was still here, he looks a little bit like a Viking. If he grew his hair out, he'd be
McCarthy. If he had long hair. McCarthy had long hair, he would definitely fit
I
the
can
mold.
see. You know what they called him Kevin O'Connell's son because they look very similar.
And then how Bud Grant and Kevin O'Connell look alike too, with the blue eyes and
is there a family bloodline that is in secret? Are the Vikings cloning Bud Grant?
We need to. We needed to win, to bring them back to win the bowl. So, it definitely almost looks like a good person to be representing Bud, though. Bless his family and his soul and his heart. And like you said,
Bud is with us, man. His spirit and Kyrie Jackson, like the Vikings. It feels like a very, very special year. I've been a Vikings fan for as long as I can remember. I started watching. There's on and off years because I was really young. But like 2013, because I was like in middle school then, and that's when I really started watching. I remember like the Christian Ponder, started watching at the very end of the Christian Ponder era.
The end of the Ponder era. That's a suffering time. Boy, that
yeah,
was
I'm glad I kind of missed it.
You want me to tell you something that's interesting about Ponder before we end this thing? Ponder was our McCarthy. I just want everybody to know that. And Brad Johnson was Sam Darnold. And I watched Brad Johnson live in real life versus the Jets get booed out of the stadium by our own fans. Our own fans booed him out of the stadium. That's how
Brad Johnson.
Brad Johnson. Yep.
Man, that's crazy.
Left, head down, feeling bad. Went down to Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl. I do not want to get rid of that type of flow. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm on board with this. I want a better ending to this. If this is what it sort of is, it's like, let's bridge out Sam and get him to a great place and get him some stuff.
Yeah, at least franchise tag him. I'm still on the training part though. Like I think he still deserves to be on a good team, which I think he can go on. I think like the 49ers, I have no doubt they're going to be in the quarterback market. I think Sam Darnold / Kirk Cousins could be going there.
I just
I
think it's
think.
just so far ahead, though. It's just like, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
It's
it is
like,
far ahead. At
it's
least
like,
this is a scenario where he gets franchise tag, in my opinion. You know, they get a lot of calls and they get a trade. They get a trade offer and with a decent team, and it's good for both sides. Sam Darnold and the Vikings, and they
right.
franchise tag him, and then they make the trade. Or this is a second scenario: they make like a 2-year deal, and if they don't get a good enough value for Sam Darnold, and it's not a good team to put Sam Darnold on, they could potentially let him start again next season at a reduced rate where it doesn't affect the Vikings cap, and they could push it to the second year, and
Yep.
then that other team can pay it. So
And
there
that's where
is
I'm
like
on. I'm on
there is
that one.
ways like for Sam, like this is a scenario Sam Darnold makes a strong push to the playoffs, which I feel like is going to happen.
If he
And so
does
these
do
are two
that, yeah.
scenarios that I would look at if we make at least the championship or the Super Bowl.
Right. Well, I
Because
mean,
Sam
because it's just
Darnold,
like
like
I just
JJ,
don't
he
want
get
to
hurt.
be of a mindset of yeah, like you said, anything can happen in the future. We are not future predictors, and that's what basically happened back then. Was we're gonna move on, and this guy's gonna make it perfect, and then that's gonna be the perfect fit. And we're gonna have the perfect season. Well, we did. We had kind of the perfect season, but we ended up losing to the Falcons, the Dirty Birds, and we had the promise after that of we drafted Christian Ponder. He's gonna be so great, and the dude was not, and it was this whole thing. And then
That,
we
that was
went
a
through the Brett
forced
Favre
draft pick,
time, and
man. Christian Ponder should have never went in the first round. Like he's more projected in the second round.
well, I mean, JJ McCarthy, prime example right there. JJ McCarthy, a lot of people had him slated as a late second round, early third round pick. What drove his price up was his combine. He's the only quarterback that showed up to the combine to throw, as well as his participation and everything. His pro day swagger looked really good, and then the demand, and that's where I'm really getting the value for these quarterbacks, and where I'm saying like everybody just let's hold on to these guys because they're worth a lot. Because you looked in the draft and what went right away: quarterback, 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 which means every team in the league, or for the most part, a lot of teams that are going into draft, like you said, they're looking for quarterbacks. They're going to pay a premium, and whether you want to play this guy or not, you're gonna still be able to trade him, even if you don't even play him, like you're saying. But like, if you do end up playing him, and this is where I'm in the line of just letting Sam keep going, letting everything keep rolling until JJ McCarthy can prove in practice and in game that he can step up and take
He
that
was
role.
pushing Sam Darnold, and like I
He
think it was
was.
the end of training camp / play preseason. He was pushing Sam Darnold towards the end before his injury.
Well, that's
And then
why we had those
he played
reports.
phenomenal in the preseason. Like JJ he slinged it.
Yeah,
So I
I
think it will
expected
be a
that.
competition, somewhat a competition if they don't trade him after this season.
But I just don't
If
want to
they keep him
be
for at
like,
least one more year to kind of keep that flow going and give JJ McCarthy an extra year to kind of rest and learn. That is a possibility. That's if JJ just not ready and they're just not looking to start him right
I
away.
just don't want to give JJ the crown immediately because, like, dude, what if it doesn't work out? Like, because I've seen this
I
plan
don't
for
think that
20
will
years.
happen because of KOC, but
I've
I can
heard
kind of
that.
see what you're
Do
saying.
you know how many times I've heard that? KOC had Kirk. He didn't do it. Kirk was good.
Well, Kirk,
Everybody's always got a reason or an excuse, and that's not going to
well,
win
with
a Super
Kirk, he
Bowl or a
just was too
championship.
robotic. Like
It's
they didn't fit well together.
But
Um,
you can't. That's what I'm saying, though. It's like the promise was that we were one piece away. You know, we
but
can't
Kirk
just go into
Cousins,
this thing
man, he
going
was
that JJ
not.
McCarthy's the guy 100% without him even earning it, or we
Kirk
will
Cousins,
regret
I think,
that.
is a little overvalued though. Like he wasn't a great quarterback.
I
Like,
think he
but
was.
he had the weapons, and Kevin O'Connor didn't really get enough time to really like Kirk Cousins was playing at a high level before that injury, and I think he would have had a phenomenal season. But even with Kirk,
But
his decision
that's what I'm
making.
saying. No, there's a but in there. There's always a but, and there will always be a but because there will never be an argument that will ever be able to beat the fact that if Sam Darnold remains the starting quarterback of the Vikings and contains high level of play and can never be beat out, why would you ever get rid of that?
But JJ will beat out Sam Darnold. I'm
That
telling you
has
right
to
now,
happen,
this
though.
guy,
Has to
his
happen.
potential is much higher than Sam Darnold's in the fact like this
How do
guy
you
can be
know
like a
that, though? You
mobile
can't
Drew
say
Brees.
that, though, dude. You
He
can't
is a
say that his
championship
potential's
winning
higher.
quarterback, and the year prior he went to the championship. This
I
guy
don't.
is prone to win, and he had a great head coach in Jim Harbaugh.
I agree
And
with
now he
all
gets
that.
Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback whisperer. This is an example I kind of go to for the system with Kevin O'Connell. You look at Nick Mullins. When he started, I think it was like the past 5 to 6 games before Josh Dobbs got the job. Like he threw for like 400
400
yards.
yards a game. Yes. I know
Yeah, like per
exactly what he
game,
did.
he's averaging
He
like
also
400
threw about as
yards, and
many
he
picks as
was
Dobbs did,
not
and
a
we didn't
great
play Dobbs
quarterback.
because of his contract. And that's what I'm saying. The whole thing is you could put a turtle back there and they're going to throw for that many yards or have success. That's how both you and I knew that Sam Darnold and this team was at least going to go 10-7. That's how we knew that, because we already knew that. But Sam has gone above that, and he keeps going better and better and better. So what I'm saying is we don't know how high that can go. It could go so high that Sam could be the Super Bowl guy. He really could. And he could be better than McCarthy. And we might let our pride in our mind just be like, you know what? Let's not do that. Just because we think, because we haven't had any proof like in real life. And like you said, like with Kirk's, you know, he started to get better and he really started to show some improvement there towards the end, but then his Achilles ripped. And it's like, you know, I don't think there is a plan where you can
There's a
say,
massive dip,
you
you
know,
know, with
like
Kirk
JJ
Cousins. Like, look
McCarthy
what he
is
did with the Falcons. Like,
gonna do it, you know, until he does it. You know what I mean? And I think giving him those keys, I think just giving it to him and offloading Sam would be the stupidest decision the organization could do ever. And I
yeah,
disagree with
there's going to
people
be
like
some
Thor Nystrom, and I'll
competition.
call it out right now. Thor Nystrom, Ben Lieber, and 20,000 other people that want to get rid of Sam Darnold because they don't know what they're talking about, because they're talking about some kind of, we got to save up a bunch of money, and that's not the plan that the Vikings had, as if I'm even involved with the Vikings. You're not in the room. You're not in the room. You don't go in their room. So you're not with the Vikings organization. So you're not with the GM, and you don't know what they're talking about. So you don't know what their plan is. You're just a couch guy like all of us. So we have a couch plan, and our couch plan never works out, never works out. And
Yeah,
so
but there, I like not fully, but there's been kind of a consistency of Kevin Quincy's been saving up money for a while now. Like he's been trying to get the cap right, and I think Quincy's not going to give that up for Sam Darnold. Like
I
there's
think
going to
that'd be
be a way
stupid.
if he does keep Sam Darnold. There's going to be a way where he kind of pushes the
I
money
think
towards
that
the
would
next
show
season.
Kwesi Menadofu's and everybody else's ability that they cannot separate PFF grades and analytics between real life football, and they're living in a fantasy dream world versus the real actual world. And they have very little foresight versus the long foresight. If you're talking about gaining capital for a team versus what you're spending, you are going to gain so much more if you bet on Sam and he ends up being good. You put the guy on a 3-year contract, you load it back end heavy, and let's say Sam plays lights out for 2 seasons in a row, and let's say JJ beats him out, right? Let's say that second season JJ beats him out, and you're like, all right, we knew this day might come. All right,
Well,
Sam, JJ's beating you out. We got to trade you, but we know you're really good, dude. And then you might even get a first round pick for the guy, which
yeah,
is
and you
even
don't have to
more
spend as much
compensation,
cap. Like
you know,
there
and then
can
you don't
be
have to
a
spend the
way where
cap
we can
and the new
offload the
team
money the
grabs it.
following season instead of like right away. Like okay, we got to pay him 25 million
Well, I just think
right off the
everybody's
rip.
betting for him to fail. That's what it seems like to me. Like everybody is betting that Sam is going to fail on that side. And everybody that is like on the side of JJ 2025 or on the side of like,
I think
we're
there's
not
two
signing
extremes
Sam,
with the Sam Darnold and
is
JJ
that
McCarthy. I think they're like we gotta look at perspective. Like JJ got hurt last year. You know, yes, he's been richer this year, but there might be what like he might not be ready to start. You know, like I think JJ when he starts, I think he's a franchise quarterback
he could,
without
I mean, I
question.
could be wrong. I could be wrong. And I mean, I'm not even actually wrong because I said JJ was a franchise right away. I've always said that. That's what I'm saying. That's why I got, you know, both the jersey and all that stuff because I believed in him. But I'm betting on myself possibly being wrong. See, that's where I'm transcending even my own arrogance. Is I'm telling myself, don't be so arrogant, Mr. New, that you're just telling yourself JJ is going to be better because of the system, because of the analytics you looked at with Nick Mullins, with Josh Dobbs, with everybody else that came over, because of what you're seeing with Sam Darnold. Don't just bet that Sam is going to regress and he's only good because he's on the Vikings. Don't just think in terms of JJ McCarthy is the only quarterback of the future. Leave that open. Leave that door open, Mr. New, because if you don't leave that door open, you're going to make it so that you force force the, like, I mean, I'm not like, I mean, I wouldn't be in control of anything, obviously, but when you're
No,
seeing
no,
it happen,
we're
right?
watching.
Obviously,
We're
just
fans, so we have a
fans.
strong opinion about it. But yeah, there's I was there for a minute with Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, but look at the stats and how he's playing, improving. I was especially the Jaguars game. I really was feeling strongly that he's going to be like Geno Smith. But he's improved, luckily. Because sometimes those
I
hit a
mean,
wall
he could
and there's no
slip back
improvement at
off that.
all. But I'd say Kevin O'Connell definitely had a huge part in his
Oh,
development.
yeah.
But let's keep in mind, if everyone go to extreme of Sam Darnold, JJ next season, it's like, guys, let's just trust in the GM and head coach. Like, these guys have been doing a phenomenal job, and they've only been doing a better job each year. So,
But I
and
will
they
say that
helped us.
Kwesi Menedofu was only doing a better job because the fans helped him. He was a slave to the analytics, and you go back and you look at his first draft, you look at all that, it was a horrendous flop. And the only reason it got better because he got so much pushback from the fan base that the next draft, he went a lot different. He went completely different. It seemed like they really went with a lot of things that the fan base was talking about. Like, they actually implemented some of that into their decision making, and maybe they let KOC and Brian pick more, or I'm not sure how that went or why that went so south that way. But I will say that through those first little bits, I know Kwesi said it himself. He said, I'm not a big football guy. I'm an analytics guy. I'm a numbers cruncher. And so I'm new to the sport, so I'm going to be soaking up information everywhere. And so I think that's part of it too, is that, I think that there's parts for him where he's going to fall into strange waters here coming up, and he's going to have to make those hard decisions. And there's going to be pushback from all kinds of people. And it's going to, I think a lot of it for Sam is going to depend on his playoff play in this Lions game.
And what he's kind of looking for as far as a contract as well, because there's going to be a lot of talks on that. It's kind of where his mind's at. Like, is he willing to take less, a friendly deal, to join the Vikings for like a 2-year deal and try to get in a good situations with a football team, not go to a shitty team? Well, actually, Cleveland Browns, I don't think they're shitty in the sense of roster or coaching. I think ownership's a shitty part with that.
I don't know,
like the ownership. The ownership's terrible, man. Like, they need a new ownership. Like, they're
that
bad.
What it is? Is it the owners?
I think it is. I think it's the
got
owners.
the bag on their head, and Baker was there.
Kevin Sosowski, I think, a decent head coach. Like, he's head coach of the year. I think it was 1 year he's head coach of the year.
Or was it 1 year?
It was like once or twice.
Okay, yeah.
Now, I'm not saying he's perfect, but I think he's definitely decent enough coach where he could. That Cleveland Browns should be making the playoffs just about every year. But with the Deshaun Watson situation, the ownership really pushed that.
Oh, that
to get Deshaun Watson.
Terrible. That ruined so much for them.
I think it's kind of karma for against someone like Deshaun Watson.
And for everything that I'm saying about all this with Sam, he still has to earn. So I'm screaming all this support for you, Sam, but you got to understand this, buddy. If you go out and throw 5 picks against the Lions, it's going to be tough for me to argue a case. So you got to keep this level up.
A Keith Close type of saying.
You got to keep this level up, or I'm going to look stupid, Sam.
You're gonna have to get the briefcase out. Okay, let's get to work.
because if you go out and you throw 5 picks and then we go 1 and done in the playoffs, I think
we're gonna have to go by statistics, man.
I'm moving on to JJ just fine. There we go. But no, I do believe in both of them. I think that they're both great quarterbacks, and that's why I get so passionate about it, because I believe in the long run we can get more for Sam than we would have to pay.
We can definitely get a lot for Sam. Like a second round pick at minimum.
Because why would you not want to stay if you're him and take a team friendly deal, knowing that you're ultimately getting more coaching so that you can, like I said, hold a team on your shoulders, and then we could hook you up and send you somewhere like the Rams when Matthew Stafford's ready to go in like a year and a half, and you're good to go, dude, and you'll be in command of a championship team with a championship coach with a championship roster. It's just like, it's a win-win. And then JJ,
I would say that
him out, he's ready to go. Because there's going to be games where Sam gets nicked up and his ankle gets ripped like this year, but he won't play through it like this year because we'll have the backup.
He's a tough guy, man. Like, he's had a lot of massive hits, and he's got up like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Right? I mean, kudos to him standing in the pockets and delivering those hits, and then knowing that this is my 1 year. And if I don't get up and I let Nick Mullins in the rest of this game, might not see another game. You know what I mean? Because a lot of that game, like people were like, put Nick back in. You know what I mean? And Sam was still earning a lot of people's trust at that time and stuff. And so he knew he needed to go back out there regardless of that ankle injury or some of these other injuries and play through it. And yeah, I will speak to his toughness. It is there. He played through it at a high level. It wasn't one where like you see the guy play through and like hinder the team because he's like trying to,
Oh yeah.
play through an injury, Delvin Cook style.
Dalvin Cook, man.
I loved him so
I'm
much.
really glad. I never was a big fan of Dalvin Cook. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know. There's just something I just didn't care for him. Like it just he kind of reminded me of like Ezekiel Elliott. Like it seemed like he's more about the money than the actual team.
You didn't like Zeke?
Zeke, no. Like he's a good player for a couple, like the first like 4 years, but after that, man, after he got paid, he disappeared.
I think it was because of his off-season program. I heard the dude ate like 800 pounds of food during the offseason and then would have to shed all that, like Eddie Lacy kind of style. Like he would eat a ton.
Oh, Eddie Lacy, man. I still remember those memes.
It caught up with him. Yeah, like it started to catch up with him. And now like he's kind of bigger and slower and they got him. He's a bruising back, but it's like,
yeah. Elliott's kind of past his prime. He was really solid for those first 4 years in Dallas. Yeah, and then he fell off after that, though. But Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott, man, it's crazy how far those guys fell. And you kind of seen guys like Derrick Henry. He's like, I think he's 31 now. He's over 30 now. And these guys are still like producing at a high level. Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, and guys like Dalvin Cook. You would have thought, okay, this guy's going to be around for a little while. Like he has that juice, but as you can see,
off him. Like, dude, running him like 30 times a game.
Dude, that was terrible, man.
There was no have to wear sunglasses after the game because his eyes would be so red because he'd be so tired. He'd be like barely able to stand. It was bad, man. I felt bad for him. Like kind of Zimmer ran the brakes off him. He ran him like a big guy would be run. Like
I think Zimmer's time in the league's probably done. Like you see what he's doing in Dallas. Like they had the worst defense in the league. Like I think Zimmer's going to end up in college too, kind of like Belichick. Like I think his time in the NFL is just over.
I think that a lot of people too. I think that old style of coaching is. I don't think you can hang anymore. It's a different league, and that's why I'm saying a lot of these old ideals and a lot of these old ideas, I don't think they're part of the modern NFL. I think the modern NFL is so quarterback orientated. And that's why you're seeing wide receivers going in such high drafts too. Like I thought about it the other day when I was thinking about the Green Bay Packers, and I was like, man, they still have not gotten an elite, really like a true, you know what I mean? That one standout guy. And I think that's because they won't go in the first round for one, because they're of that old belief. Like, oh, you don't pick a wide receiver till a later round. And it's like, well, if you want a stud, get him in the first round. Look at the last
Jordan Love is, we know. Like, he's not a bad quarterback by no means, but he is an elite leader.
He's beatable.
Like, he's right in the middle. Like, I put him in Jared Goff range. Like, he is an elite.
10,
but
10, 9, something like that, right?
I would put him like 14, overall 15, probably like top 10, between top 10, between 15. Like it said, like in the Jared Goff range. He's not a guy that can do it by himself. He needs weapons around him. And you see he's suffering because he has no weapons. In my opinion, like his biggest weapon is probably the tight end, Tucker.
Kraft.
Or Kraft,
yeah. Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft, yeah.
I mean, we both said the right name. We're just saying the opposite.
To be honest, but I think if we won the 1 seed and they won, I think that'd be who we'd face, right?
Green Bay. I thought it was the NFC South.
Okay, NFC South. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I say like I hope if we win. I don't feel like we're gonna lose. Like obviously there's a chance there always, but I feel really confident.
You feel like we could do this? Like, are you feeling good?
I do. I feel really.
Come on, bro. Pass some of it over here. I need some.
Yeah, I feel good. Like
I need a little.
And we got tape on the Lions in the past 2 games without David Montgomery. And the Lions, you've seen the game against the 49ers. Like this is not the Super Bowl 49ers. This is the 49ers that are beat down, that have lost a lot of their weapons, and that Purdy is getting exposed. Like if the 49ers put 35 points, imagine what Sam Darnold and the Vikings can do.
Yeah. And I think Sam is better than Purdy.
I do too. Yeah, as of right now, because Brock Purdy. Yeah,
And
I
I think
was never a
Purdy's
big
good,
fan of
dude.
Brock Purdy.
Like I think he's top 10ish, but not like you're saying. Like I've always been like, you know, a little hesitant of like he's not that guy that's going to be able to pick your team up, just like how I say, how we both say. I don't think Jared Goff can pick your team up, and I think Jordan Love can actually
or
pick
he
a
would have
team
done with
up
the
more
Rams.
than those other guys. I think I would actually have Love more as an independent guy that could pick his team up and win a game more than Goff or who we were just talking about. I can't think of his name.
Oh shit! Oh, Brock Purdy. Yeah,
Brock Purdy, or you know what I mean? I think they're system
I
guys.
think Brock
Like
Purdy's
they're
going to
system
get. I
guys.
think he's going to lose his job next year. My predict, like this is way far in the future. I think Kirk Cousins takes over his job.
He
I
hit
think
his
he
nerve
wins.
again.
Wait,
He
what's
hit
that?
that he hit his ligament again. So
Kirk
I think
Cousins,
you're right. No, Brock
Brock
Purdy.
Purdy.
That one
Yeah,
member
yeah. It seems like
in the
he.
championship when he got hit and he
Yeah,
had to
he's
have
never the
surgery.
same after that. Like
They
he
hit it
didn't have the
again.
same arm after that.
The Lions hit that arm, and
Yeah, that's
might have
why
to have
he went
surgery
out.
again.
That's why he got injured early in the game. That's why he went out of there.
Yeah,
That's why they lost.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he's ever gonna be back again. Like he hit that same nerve, dude. Like
Yeah, it depends. What like miracles do happen. Like Alex Smith, his knee was completely. It looked obliterated. Like you look at it, it took him a year and a half to recover from that. So there's always possibilities. But I'd say Kirk Cousins. I think that was destined to happen years and years and years ago.
he'll
Like
ride
even
down there.
2018,
He'll win with
because
him.
Kyle Shanahan's a big fan of Kirk Cousins. His dad drafted him, and he worked with Kirk Cousins for many years, and he spoke highly on Kirk Cousins. So I wouldn't say I would be shocked if Kirk Cousins signed a 1-year proven deal with the
I thought
49ers
we were
and
going to
compete with
maybe
Brock
get
Purdy.
Trey Lance for him, but way back, like when you were saying, I thought we might, you know what I mean? Once they
Yeah,
kept
I did
Brock
too.
Purdy, I
I
thought
thought
maybe we
once
were
Kirk Cousins
gonna,
contracted, I thought we were
yeah.
going to trade him to 49ers.
I thought the same. I kind of thought that too. I will admit that. And also, before we're all done here, I just want to say, hey everybody, I know I get excited and scream and rant a lot of things like that, but that's just because I'm passionate. I'm not really angry at all my cohorts and all my people like that or anything like that. I just always want to get my opinion out with everybody else. So I hope everybody understands that. It's just like I'm not angry. I'm not shouting at anybody. I don't hate anybody's stuff. I just want to debate. I always want to debate with everybody and get my stuff in with the mix, get all in the dirt and the mud and start hollering. And I don't know. It's just I holler when I watch the games. I'm hollering right with them. I feel like I'm right there with everybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's you got to, man. If
It's
you're
how
not
I
screaming,
live.
I'm kind of questioning your fandom. I'm like, are you really excited about this?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, hey,
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I'm
dude,
just me.
my cats always get scared. Like they're used to it now, but like a couple years back, they always ran off when I started screaming because I get really pumped, man.
Yeah.
Especially this year, I definitely got my fair share of screaming in,
Oh,
and
but I give my cats a little bit of catnip every Sunday, so then they know that when I'm screaming and yelling, it's actually gotten to be now they look forward to it. It's kind of funny.
I'm
Now
gonna
they
try
relate the
that.
screaming to the catnip. Because what I would do is as soon as I would do the screaming, then I would pull out the catnip and give them a little bit. So they would then, after a couple weeks of it, then they would hear me scream, and instead of running away, they would run up and be like, "Catnip? Is that why you're yelling? You must be
Oh
yelling because it's
yeah,
catnip time,
yeah,
right? Because that's when you yell. Is because you yell because you want to give me catnip. Like that's the only
that's a
thing
good
I could take my
idea.
cats
If
thinking.
you want, yeah, to help your cats adjust, and they link it up to every time he screams, it's actually
Yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah. That's why I tried to put that in because otherwise they don't ever hear me scream, unless it's something bad, like I get hurt or something, So yeah, I always want to relate that there and stuff. And I could be wrong with what I say, you know what I mean? And Sam could regress big time, and that is a worry of mine. But I want to stay faithful that he's not going to regress, that he's going to keep climbing the ladder till he
I don't
becomes
think
a
he's going to
true
regress
quarterback
under the
one.
Minnesota Vikings, especially for head coaches and a roster. That's why I'm like good either way.
Well,
Like
not even there. Like I
regardless of
hope
what
he
the
just,
Vikings pick, I don't think we're gonna go bad. Like JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold, I don't give a shit. Like one
yeah.
of those two, I'm
It,
confident in. Like, regardless, we're gonna have a franchise quarterback in one of those two. You know, I
Right.
think JJ has higher potential, but regardless, we're good guys. Like, why are we
Right.
stressing? This is the first time we've
We're
had
way good.
two good quarterbacks.
Two. Yeah, you got two of them. You got two. We're so privileged. You know, we're just
Yeah, I
privileged.
think we kind of lose it. Like, we're like, because we always feel like we have to pick a side. It's like, why do we have to pick sides, guys? Like,
Yeah,
either way, we're good.
Right. And that's why I'm stressing the whole thing, because I don't want Sam and JJ to be in the locker room thinking they're enemies or anything like that because of how the
Nah,
fans put
JJ's
it.
too chill for that.
And
Like, this
JJ's
man
so
does
cool. JJ's
meditation
like
now.
Sam's biggest fan. You know what I mean? Have you seen that on social media? It's pretty cool, man. He's the first guy. They say that right out in the beginning. He was like one of the first guys to step out and say like, no. Because I remember training camp when everybody was like, but you're kind of looking really good in training camp. And he's like, no, Sam's looking better. And he like flat out said it. I remember. And he was just like, and regardless of whether it was true or not, just the ability to do that, I think is, you know, that's
shows
a
a lot of
precedent. It's a
leadership.
leadership. And I think that if them both can be friends, dude, I think they could. That's what I mean. I think like Sam and JJ could learn so much together and go on this epic run. And it'll be this like one person learn to another, have a great off season, have some more success, put JJ in a successful thing and stuff. And if Sam don't work out, he don't work out, whatever. You know,
Yeah, I
but
don't
it's
think
like,
JJ's taking this to hard feelings because obviously he wants to be out there. Anybody would be in his position, but he's the type of guy that's not going to be overly jealous, and it's not going to be, man, it should be me. You know, he's a great leader, and the man does meditation. Like he ain't worried about what
I
everyone
think he'll
else is
still
saying.
be out there doing his thing, even if he's not starting. You know what I mean? Even if he's just back up on the first games or something, he'll still be out there chilling. And then, you know what I mean? I think everything.
I'm still
will be
waiting
all
for
good.
that. I want, even though he's not playing, I want to see that warm up meditation, man.
Right?
Like,
I'm ready to see it, bro.
I'm ready
so
for
ready.
it. I'm
And then
ready to see that.
him skull just freaking out. Well, he's just silent.
Yeah, I tell you, you know, like meditation. I've done meditation for 4 years. Like there's obviously distractions, but like that's all back noise. You know, like I learned meditation these past couple of years and going deeper within it. Like meditation, all the noises and things around. Like you can't. That's a part of it. Like that literally is part of meditation. You can do meditation anywhere. Though. You don't have to close your eyes to do it.
Right.
You know, there's different ways. Like if you're in traffic and there's people are honking and things like that, use that as a meditation and breathe through it and like, hey, I can't control this, you know, but I can just be presently here, you know.
Honestly, actually, maybe Sam could even learn some of that from JJ. That'd be kind of cool too.
Yeah,
I never thought about that. You know what I mean? Learning from the young guy. I kind of blocked some of that out in my life, but lately I've been turning that on more. Like I want to learn from these younger dudes because I started my ideas were just starting to get too old, you know, too old school and stuff. So I've been starting to learn from the young dudes. It's pretty cool. Like,
yeah, I still miss that. I miss the old gritty hitting, man, like on defense. Like they've gotten really soft. Like they're saying, like basically they call a flag on Justin Jefferson for gritting too hard. Like I think,
why wasn't it called on Mackenzie Alexander for grittying over the top of him?
Dude, that's wild, man. I'm like this. I will say this. Like obviously, there's a lot of rules you probably don't agree with, but the number one thing, and like I played football in high school, we talk shit. That's that's the biggest part of football. We all talk shit. Every single one of us. Like you're playing football,
right? Our mouths are moving
shit.
a lot out there.
Like, why is there a taunting rule on that? Like, there should be no rules on taunting unless they're like throwing something at your face or something
very flagrant. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be pretty
like
flagrant.
that. Yeah, like something racist. But I'm like, God, like something that like disrespectful. But if they're talking shit, there should be no rule.
Gosh, I can't
there should be
remember.
no flag on that.
And that's why when I was saying like Dan Campbell's Lions have the edge is because they're playing with the idea that they know that the refs are only going to throw so many flags. They're not going to throw them all game is what they're thinking. But they could, but it would make everybody be like, boo, you know? And so they're under the pretense of we're going to hit you like it's the old school days. And I think a lot of these new kids aren't ready to be hit like that. And
no, that's why the Lions are so good because they had that old school gritty, how the Steelers and Ravens were, like that gritty, hard hitting.
Yeah. I mean, even their offensive linemen, dude. Do you see their offensive linemen get off the ball? Dude, they uppercut the dudes.
Dude, one of them got a touchdown, man.
They're crazy good.
Yeah, one of them got a touchdown, man. I'm like, as a lineman, man, I'm like,
Yeah,
yes.
I do like the big guys.
Yeah, get the touchdown. They don't get it often. Man, one player like going on all this is a little bit off topic, but offensive lineman that I wish he was safeless longer because I felt like he still has some juice left. John Sullivan. Like he was one of my
Ah,
favorite offensive linemen for the Vikings.
Sully, miss you, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was our best center in a long time. Like, no disrespect to Bradbury, he's definitely improved with the other guys helping him out. But Sullivan was on a different level. Like that dude was a great offensive lineman. His name will be forgotten besides like Vikings fans because I don't because he and at the end of his career he kind of washed out. But like he was such a great player though for the Vikings.
He was decent. And yeah, we never really needed to get Brad. We could have just stuck with Elf. Like honestly, like there wasn't much
Oh, I
difference in
forgot
between the
about
two.
him.
Because
Had
he started to
Elfin.
get better, remember? And like he wasn't too bad as a center. And then we get the grim reacher, a generational center. That was what Bradbury is supposed to be.
Yeah,
The,
generational
the
center.
reaper,
Yeah,
the
yeah. I don't mean
generational.
no
Only
disrespect,
one
but
comes
that's
around in your lifetime. And then the very
yeah.
next
I've
year,
heard
they're like
that, and
generational center
I was on the
again.
hype train. I was on the hype train, but now I'm like,
Nah.
he's all right. Like
He's all
he's doing
right,
great.
but it's the surrounding cast that needs to help him. Kind of like remember when we were talking in the beginning of the year, and I was like really frustrated that Dalton Reisner wasn't in.
Yes, and guess who's
And
in?
as soon as he got in, that line really shaped up, didn't it?
Yeah, I forget who was. I think
Ed Ingram was in there.
it was one of the reporters, and he's like, no, like he's not gonna be good. Like he's gonna actually make it
Drove me
worse. I'm
nuts.
like, what are you talking about?
It made me so mad, dude. I was
I was like, no, bro. Dalton Reiser. Did you not see him last season? He
that's
played
what I was telling
phenomenal.
everybody. It's like as soon as he came in last season, our line got good. Like he is good. Maybe he's not the best. Maybe his PFF grades don't show it, but he can
Yeah, let's
take
get
his
away from
assignment.
PF grades because they can be off a little bit. Like, watch the tape.
Yeah, watch the tape, especially with the linemen, because the thing is with the PFF grades. Yeah, sure, he might pick up a block, but is it the right block? Was it the right assignment? And the PFF grades can't tell you that because they don't know the game plan. They don't know the game book. So they don't know if you picked up the right block. And they just know that you picked up a block. And sometimes what I was seeing was the defense was doing these stunts and stuff and these flip overs and all these things. And it like Ed Ingram would go and he would grab the guy in front of him and this other guy would be flying right past him. And that guy was supposed to go to the next assignment to O'Neal. And O'Neal's sitting here trying to grab the guy, and he's got to go around the back end of Ingram to try to grab this guy. And that's why we get holding or something stupid because the guy's flying through or our quarterback gets ripped his head off. And it was happening so often. And I was just like, how are we not seeing that these guys are coming right through the B gap? They're coming right through the B gap every time, you guys. And you guys are telling me that it's not Ed's fault. Like, I'm trying with the guy here, but come on, man.
Yeah, I've seen Ed Ingram. I was never
3
impressed with
years of
him.
it.
I did hype him up a little bit when he got drafted. I was like, okay, this guy might be good. He's from
Hype up
a good
draft pick.
school. Like he was a good quality pick, I will say. As far as like a 6th-round pick, I think is where he was picked at. And now he was stalling that department. He's a good backup.
Right?
Not as a starter. Like he is no starter.
Just not a start. Like I would be fine if it was like our guy got hurt and Ed had to come in and fill in. I'd be like, okay, Ed's in there, I'm good to go. But when you're starting like that and like your quarterback has no time to pass and we're drawing, Jefferson to go 14 yards up and in, how the frick are we ever going to hang onto the ball long enough when we got a free linebacker coming in?
Yeah, exactly. Ingram, there's like PFF grade him high, but there's a lot of missed communication with him.
Synergy problem. Yeah.
Yeah, like PFF grade, like it can give you an idea, but you gotta look at the tape. Like don't always go by the PFF grade because it can be a little misleading. When I saw Dalton Reisner wasn't very high in PFF, I'm like, this guy played phenomenal. Like he played like Pro Bowl guard.
Good, man. Especially in the pass block.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with our offensive line. Especially Darisaw went down
last game. Like he was back there that was very worrisome too. And shout out to our guys for grabbing Cam Robinson. He's been pretty decent.
Cam Robinson, man. Yeah. Everyone was like, guys, why would you be trade for Cam Robinson? I'm like,
We
that was a
needed
needed move, man. They're
We
talking
needed
about trading like 2 first-round picks for trying to say it was, from Giants, Dexter Lawrence
Dexy.
or
Yep.
yeah. I'm like, guys, that we don't need to trade 2 first-round picks for a
That's way
defense.
too much. It's-
Dude, that's wild. I was like, what? 2
Well,
first-round
get
picks
this.
for a
I
defensive
know what we
tackle?
could trade for Dexter Lawrence over there. Starts with
Yeah,
an F
like
and ends with
if you do
Darnold.
that, might as well just swap Sam Darnold for him if
That's what
that's
I'm
his
Sam
price.
Darnold right down there. That's a great trade right there. And you get your first. And that's a good trade. Like, I would like that. Imagine that team. You know
I
what I
would be
mean? Sam
happy with
Darnold goes
that,
down the
and
time,
obviously,
and then maybe come into next year, Sam keeps proving it, and the Giants like, all right, maybe we didn't get our guy in the draft because we played that game and got 55 points because Drew Lock was on a mission against the
my
Colts.
God, yeah, that GM has to be fired, though, dude. Like the Giant, I know this is off topic, but Giants GM, what the hell did he do, man? What did he
How do
do?
you
He
play
signed
that
Daniel Jones
bad
over
all
Saquon
year and then
Barkley.
get 55 points in the end? And then, get rid of Saquon Barkley. Just let
They
him walk out the
lowballed
door.
him, man. They lowballed him. Like the report was, I read a little bit of it. They're like, okay, we'll offer you this. And it was below his asking price. So, like, go out and see. You're going to find out we gave you the best price.
It was on a show. They did, like, I don't know if it was Hard Knocks or there was like a show, and like they let him walk out, dude. Like the management is sitting up there, and that's why I wasn't afraid of their management coming into this draft. And that's why I'm like, dude, we could probably get Dexter Lawrence from them, because I don't think they know what they're doing, and they need to just start over and rebuild.
Like, I think their head coach isn't horrible. I think he's definitely going for a lot of growing pains, but I think it's that GM. Like their GM,
it's a GM thing. It was their GM on the phone the whole time, dude, and he's like talking to Saquon Barkley, and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, if you want to come, that's cool, and if you don't, that's cool."
Yeah, he's acting like this is like an average running back that got like a couple hundred yards rushing the past season and just hit 1,000. The past season. I'm like, this is Saquon Barkley, man. I know he's been kind of injury prone, but this guy's a weapon. They're the only reason you guys made the playoffs. Like,
it was the reason that they beat it. And that was, I told everybody, I said, we got to stop Saquon. That's the one thing. Make Danny Dimes pass, stop Saquon, and we're good.
Daniel Jones is not a franchise quarterback as of right now. Like under KOC, it could be a different story.
KOC, that's one where I think someone could get some help from KOC and earn another contract type deal, like a Geno Smith thing. You know what I mean? I think Daniel Jones
I do think that
there, like as
under KOC,
Smith,
I think Daniel Jones could get an opportunity down the line. It depends what their plan is, though. Like I'm not even going to try.
I just think that thing's starting to fade. I think he's just learning. You know what I mean? I think that's all he's going to get out of this. It's just
that's the reason why he's on the practice squad. And I think depending what the Vikings want to do next season, that's going to depend on
quarterbacks. Yeah, that's crazy.
We got
so many quarterbacks.
We got a lot of options.
A lot of options.
Like, I'm not worried at all next season. No. Like the Vikings are going to be good for a very long time.
I just don't want to. I just don't want to miss out on something in Sam that could have been. So I'm just hoping that we keep. If this thing goes well in the playoffs, like, you know what I mean? Let's say
that's the biggest
regardless
thing.
Of this game, if we go well in the playoffs and this game goes well, let's say if Sam goes well throughout the whole thing, would be cool to see everything keep going and running it back. And then whatever happens, as the ladders climb and once JJ earns his spot or whatever. But if, like you said, if the team decides to go another direction, I'm going to, be in full support of JJ and have my jerseys out and ready on day one. Hey,
you can always frame it too. Like either way, that Sam Darnold jersey is going to. I think it's a good jersey to grab because you always can frame it because that's a special year. Like Case Keenum, if I would have grabbed that jersey, I would have it framed because
he started the chant for sure. Everybody was awkward with it.
That was the year the chant started, 2017. I'll never forget it.
Because everybody was awkward. Everybody, we like the whole stadium wouldn't do it. Like you'd see a couple people doing it, but everybody is kind of like, that's kind of cringy, man. That's kind of weird. And then Case at the end of that game, after the Minneapolis Miracle, he's just standing down there, does the slow clap, and everybody gets up, and they're all just skull.
Yeah, and he will forever be a Viking legend, man. Like Case Keenum, a Viking legend. Yeah, man. I didn't like Diggs's leadership down in Minnesota. I think he definitely caused some issues. But I will always respect what he did in Minnesota.
Yeah.
that Minnesota, the Minnesota Miracle will forever be in the history. Like it's one of my favorite
One of the
moments.
best
But
plays all
sometimes I
time.
like to go back and watching it, and it gives me chills every time.
Diggs is an amazing receiver. We got him in the 6th round. You know what I mean? Picked him up, and he scraped and earned his way onto the team. You know what I mean? Did a lot of great things and ended up going on to be a wonderful, wonderful player. And I have no regrets in anything that happened with him in his years. And yeah, I don't have a jersey of his. I know we got one of old Kirk's, and we remember the memories like that too. The chains and all the stuff. We got one that year. You know, I mean, it's like
Oh,
frick,
the
he was on
Kirko chain.
Netflix. He had the chains, which sets a precedent. Now every team has chains. You know what I mean? It's like, like what's
Yeah,
not
the
to remember about that? He was fun
That's what I love
for a
about our
minute.
team, though. The Vikings team try to hype Kirk Cousins up because Kirk Cousins, I think he's like a Jared Goff. Like I would put him in the scenario of Jared Goff because like a lot of his stats came in garbage time, so
Yep.
he would never really could carry the team on his back, which is obvious.
No.
But I loved what the team did. They always try to up Kirk Cousins' confidence, like try to
Right.
give him chains, like hey, Kirk go chains.
Right.
Like they always try to hype him up, really push him to be a great leader for the Vikings.
And we're seeing that with Sam, like, hoisting him up and stuff. And
Hey,
that's
did
what I
you see
wanted
the
to see all
locker
year. I was
celebration
just
where
like,
they spray
yeah.
water on him and they're like, yeah.
Do you hear him afterwards too? He's like, he did the Ricky Bobby quote. He's like, my hands, I just sort of blacked out and I didn't know what to do with my hands. Ricky Bobby style. Whatever. And I was like, oh, yes, dude.
Ricky
Yes.
Bobby.
He's getting more of his character out.
Yeah. I think his real self is coming. I think he was kind of in a shell I think he was kind of a slump in his shell for a couple of years.
Well, that's
And
why I think his career can go up.
KOC and
Yeah.
with all the coaching and a roster and the guys hype him up, I think now he's kind of coming finally into his own. He's
Right.
never had a good coaching staff until the 49ers, but that was as a backup. He didn't really get as a starter. And now he has a good coaching staff. He has the greatest receiver in the league as his number one. And to end the show a little bit, though, Sam Darnold, yeah, we've been going on about him. Like I think he's a good leader, and I think regardless, we're going to be good with that.
I think that the team is saying it. That, I'm just going with what the team is going with and telling me basically, and they've been telling me that we trust this guy and he's really good, and I'm not going to let the predisposition of something that I knew in the past or something that I saw in the past dictate what I see now. And I'm going to go with the Sam Darnold of 2024 moving into 2025. And I'm going to remember that and keep going with that and just keep cheering for him and keep cheering for the Vikings this year until it's done, man. And I hope when it's done, the Super Bowl.
Let's not root against him. Like, there doesn't have to be a choice right now. Like, regardless, like, I want to win a Super Bowl. I don't give a shit who the quarterback is.
Right.
Like, they're going to be a Vikings quarterback. They're the Vikings quarterback. Like, that's what I'm worried about. And I think of, like, the players like Harrison Smith that are at the end of their careers and probably have, like, this year or next year until they retire. So that's what I think of for sure.
And I don't want to be one of them guys that puts their ideal over the team. Like sometimes, like I see it, whereas like somebody would want to be like, JJ McCarthy is gotta play, or I'm not even going to be a fan of this team. And it's like, whatever the team goes with, man, I'm going to go with. Like, I just want to, like, I mean, if that's where it goes, I mean, I want to cheer. I love the guy too, but like, I'm not going to put Sam or JJ over the team. I'm always, you know what I mean? I'm always going to cheer for the Vikings organization, and whoever their quarterback is, I'm going to back that guy. You know what I mean?
The only disappointment I had with the Vikings any time this season was I was pissed, because it was like right after Kyrie Jackson's passing, Jordan Addison got DUI.
Yeah,
and there was like the Vikings didn't really do anything. I was really kind of looking at them to be like kind of give them a suspension for a couple games just to kind of show like, hey, we tolerate this. And I was just kind of disappointed that process, but but overall,
I felt the same way, dude. I felt the same way, my brother, because it is no joke out there. Coming from somebody, a lot of guys might not know this, but a lot of people do know this. I've had DUIs in my life, DWIs, and I tell people that I do TED Talks and stuff for kids and for adults too. And it's not worth it, guys. It is never worth it. It is never worth it to drink or smoke or do anything and drive. You put everything at risk. You put your freedom at risk. It is the worst decision you could ever make. And you always got to look for someone else to have them keys. And if you can't drive, look, you got to stay or whatever. You can't be doing that. And if you're an adult doing that, you really need to ask yourself, am I an adult? I shouldn't be able to go around and say I'm a full grown man and stuff and do these actions and not be held accountable, because, it could cost somebody's life, like what happened with Kyrie. It is a tragedy when we get people that, maybe aren't paying attention and maybe looking at your phone and driving. And there's so many things, and it's just like, you got everyone else's life in your hands out there,
Yeah,
really
exactly.
is.
And with the drunk drive, it's never a good idea, and I think we kind of lose sight, like, oh yeah, we've been driving for years, but it's like these you're literally driving a 1,000-pound machinery, and that just have somebody that could break a rib. Like it's no joke, and I think it's just being more aware. I do like how they are bringing awareness in schools and things like that. I know it's brought perspective in my mind, because it at least plants something in your mind, like, oh, things can go wrong. Things can go very wrong if I do this. So at least there's some awareness, but hopefully more that, like, especially with Kyrie Jackson's passing, that this is just not a good idea. And I'm not sure exactly, like, Jordan Addison's having a court date, so hopefully there is some kind of disciplinary thing, because
I heard it was going to be next year.
Next year,
I heard
yeah.
he was going to serve the suspension next year. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish the Vikings would at least give him 1 or 2 game suspension this year. Just kind of show, like, we don't tolerate this, but
That's what I heard. I heard he's getting one of those next year.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be a big one, because it's a
4-gamer next year.
There's tolerance with that now, and which it should be, and yeah, there's gonna be something. It's probably gonna be like a 4 to 5 game suspension. I would assume.
What I'm hearing. I mean, because what I heard basically was that the league they want to wait till it's legally done before they take action. Now they don't want to take action before any legal action is done. And as we know, these things get dragged out by attorneys and stuff like that for a long time. And so I think that, I don't even know if Addison's case is done or not. I'm not going to speak on it because I don't know.
It's just something like in January. I might have got, I haven't checked in a while, but last time I checked, the thing was like January 15th or 16th.
So yeah, he's probably pushing it out and having his attorney push it out so that he doesn't have to serve no time or nothing. And we don't want you to serve time now, Addison. We got playoffs coming up, so don't do it now. Next season sounds like a good time for me. You could sit a couple games beginning of next season, young man. I can say that now because I'm all old and crusty. No, I wish the best for the guy, man. And I think Coach got on him. I do. I think in the private times, I do. You hear Coach O'Connell sometimes get piped up, and it's like that dad that's real quiet and nice and cool, but when he gets mad, it's like, oh, look out! Like, yeah, it's like that. And I think he did. You know what I mean? Tell him some stuff, because honestly, we haven't heard a peep coming out of his world since. I haven't.
No, I think there was a talk behind scenes, and because Kevin O'Connell, like, even he said he wouldn't. Yeah, he because it already happened once before, and Kevin O'Connell was not happy the first time. So I'm sure the second time, Kevin O'Connell kind of grabbed Jordan Addison up, like, "Hey, man, like, this cannot be happening," or like,
"Oh, you're gone,"
because this is not how the team operates. Like, this ain't
we're
about
not
one person. This is a team unit. And we can't have you be doing these things, especially when someone on our team just passed away 6 days ago before you did that.
Well, yeah, that especially. That especially. It sets a bad look. And like, I'm sure you let him know, like, hey, last year with the dog, we know. Come on. We know you were just telling tall tale there to get out of a speeding ticket. Don't be driving 110 miles an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially in Minnesota, this ain't like Vegas where it's got like nice roads. Up here, you're gonna hit a pothole, dude, and you're gonna flip over.
Yeah. I think especially players that are young, they got the money, they got the fame, so I think there just needs to be more awareness. Hopefully in the NFL, hopefully this brings more awareness, especially with Kyrie Jackson, but
I think
even look at Henry Ruggs a couple years ago. Like, that was massive.
That too. You see him and he had to serve time and has his serving time.
Yeah, I think he's still serving time. I think it was like an 8-year sentence.
Yes. And these things it's no joke like that. And it goes from, one day you're getting drafted and like Jordan Addison yelling money. And the next day it could be something like where we see with Ruggs or what we've seen with Kyrie and stuff. It's like life can change so quick. So cherish the now. You know what I mean? And speaking of the now, this game coming up, I'm going to cherish it so much, dude. And I cherish coming onto your show, and I appreciate it so much, Gage. And I already know you're probably going to be like, where can we find this? I'll just say it already. Mr. New, MRKNEW on all socials. And I'm just
Perfect.
excited for the game, dude.
And I got one more question for you, and this is
Yeah.
something that's been very popular in Twitter.
I'm ready.
Jordan Addison versus Jameson.
Oh, Jordan Addison all day, dude. No way am I going JMO. No way, dude. I got like this scene. He's so electric and all this other stuff, but electric is one thing. That's one thing, dude. When you can do a trick play, whoop-de-whoop, and hand the ball, if it's a whole nother. When this, I'm telling you, Jordan Addison is the most evasive wide receiver in the league. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that this dude is able to just disappear. He's able to just disappear in the backfield. Basically, if you're a backer out there, or if you're a cornerback or something, and you're looking for him, you're a safety, and their job is to cover Jordan Addison, the dude disappears out of vision. And it's partially because of how Kevin O'Connell draws up game plan, partially because of having Jefferson on the field, all eyes on him, stuff like that. But even when Addison is the main scorer, and they move their, you've seen it with the Packers, they moved their main, Nixon was on Addison. They moved their number one cornerback on Addison. And then they had bracket coverage for Jefferson. You know, and they kind of switched it a little bit, but mainly,
you can't do the
Addison.
comparison. I'm like, no, man. Jordan Addison is the guy.
Right.
I think he's the definitely, like, I put him over JMO 100%. Like JMO, like he didn't even get good until this season. Like like Jordan Addison's been doing it since his first season. So
right.
Like the Lions fans, I think, are really pushing that narrative. But yeah, I gotta go Jordan Addison.
I just think that he can, you know, he can. The one thing I wish he would have came down with that ball in that last game, you know, he had it in his hands. You know, Sam, you know, I guess Sam was a couple feet short maybe with it, but when you're throwing the ball 60 yards, a couple feet ain't much. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to come down with that one in the air. But for the most part, he usually does. And he just gets lost out there. You know what I mean? Or he's able to run the routes too so clean and get wide open. He's able to get open on his own with the number one cornerback.
Yeah, you see him get wide open a lot, you know, and luckily Sam Darnold now is getting him the ball a little bit more. So it's been very good. Like they're starting out. I was starting to question him early in the season because you didn't see him, you know, but now he's starting to get the flow now. And
we got the proofs in the pudding. I'll ask Lions fans this: put it right on the table, okay? Let's just put it this way: we've had games where we don't have Justin Jefferson, okay? Basically, we put the most rosters together, stack them up. You take away Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you got to have JMO as your main guy all game, where we've had to have Addison as our main guy all game. I know Addison can take on the number one cornerback and defeat it and win his matchups. I don't know if JMO's doing that all game without Amon-Ra St. Brown and
he's a speedy guy, but he's not very basic.
Pressure off. I think he's going to get pushed out of bounds in press coverage and get manhandled. I think that's what would happen. I think he excels in zone breakdown coverage. When the zone scheme breaks down and he uses his speed, he, like I say, he's electric. He's, you know, he can score on you like that. But, you know, I just don't think he's that guy. You know what I mean? I don't think you could just be like, all right, I'm going to throw a 50-50 ball. J-Mo's going to go get it. He's going to burn the two-man coverage there.
No.
Like, it's just like that's – but with Addison, it's like he could. You know, I could see Addison burning the two-man coverage and get Knicks. I've seen it done.
Well, yeah, we've seen it. You know, he gets very wide open most of the time. So, yeah, Jordan Addison, yeah, he's definitely the better receiver over J-Mo. Like, J-Mo didn't get good until the season. You can look up the stats. And we've seen him play because he got a lot of suspensions in the past, and he just, even when he played, didn't look that good. Yeah,
like everything has to be right. You know, you got to hit. Everybody has to hit their blocks, and the zone scheme has to break down. And once he gets free, it's a nightmare. You know, obviously because he's running. What does he run, like a 4.32?
Oh yeah, I think he had one of the fastest combines.
He's ridiculously fast. He's very fast. Like he's fast. You know, and that's a weapon. It's a weapon, but that's all it is. A weapon that we can decide that hopefully Brian can take out. But yeah, unlike Addison, who is the total package. Score.
Skull,
I don't
baby.
have an
And
Addison jersey. That's the only one I don't have. I wish I had one. Addison, you got to sign me one, bro. You got to sign me one, Jordan Addison. Send it here, and then send me like say like straight cash, homie. I remember when we got drafted, he said like money or something like that. I can't remember. He
yeah,
said
yeah,
like cash
I
or money.
honestly I didn't like that. Like, but you know, as long as he produces, you know, like,
As long as you produce
and he
it, the big
doesn't become like
glasses.
a Stephon Diggs in the locker room, that it's all good, you know.
It was
Um,
fun.
Hey, but it was great having you on the show, man. And it's always good conversations, you know.
For
And I'm
sure.
glad we kind of talk about every chance being on Twitter and the biggest regular season game for the Vikings tomorrow night. So I'm really
Dude, it's
excited to
gonna
pick that
be
up.
electric. It's gonna be crazy. I can't. Oh my gosh! And I'm gonna have some pieces coming out, like how I've been so passionate about Sam and stuff like that. I'm gonna put it on the line, man. I'm gonna put my name on the line, as I've done
Yeah, I'm gonna see
before
if I
many
can
times.
create some of these clips tomorrow to get like a little pre-game videos out.
I'm gonna try to preach just like I've been doing, you know. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It happens to the best of us. But I'm just so excited. I'm so darn excited that I just like I gotta say, man, everyone definitely cherish this time. You know what I mean? Don't even worry about the future. Worry about the now. And gosh, even if we lose this game, we still got playoffs. So it's just like I'm ready, man. I'm ready, dude. Great times.
Yeah, I'm pumped. And yeah, we got a viewer joined in a little late, but better late than never. And Nick, I have to agree. Like we're all excited. Like this is the battle. 14 win teams. Like you can't ask for anything better. Vikings, Lions, and it's kind of like the Lions have become like the Packers were back in '09. Like it was a big time rivalry. Aaron Rodgers versus Brett Favre. I mean, it was only for a short time, but that Packer versus Viking classic rivalry we haven't seen since really Aaron Rodgers was here. And that's kind of what the Lions became because the Packers kind of.
And then with the fans adding on the flame, dude, this is big, dude. I just want this victory. Like I'm looking at them like they're the 2018, 2019 Eagles, dude. Like they're just burning me.
I'm ready,
I'm just
man.
like, oh, dude, I want to win so bad.
I want to humble them. I want the Vikings to humble them so bad, man. Like if we do, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna talk all this shit. And I'm gonna call out all the Lions fans that were like, "Oh yeah, the Vikings were frauds. Like we're gonna humble the Vikings." I'm like, okay, we'll see. Because I know I have a good feeling who's gonna win. I might be a little biased, but I'm telling you guys, it looked so fresh last week.
Just maybe biased, but you know, but yeah, I mean, we got hopefully we might have to face them again in the playoffs. So it's like, I don't want to get too overconfident, even if we do win, you know what I mean? But if we do win, I think that will give the team a lot of confidence and some rest, which is well needed, man. We need some rest. We need a week of rest.
But we got the shit dogs in Port, man. If we win, we're the 1 seed and division leaders. Like I'm talking all the shit, man.
Is everybody, I'm gonna save up if I can to get a conference shirt or a conference hat, something if we win the division.
I'm gonna save up and get like at least I'm probably gonna grab a t-shirt. I grabbed a hat before, but I can't really wear hats.
And then
with the long hair.
In case anyone doesn't able to get it, when I looked at it when I got mine, and it wasn't last year, I think it was the year before, whenever we did it last time. They go on sale like the next. I mean, like I know it's always fun to have it right away, but you have to freaking wait for shipping anyway. So then, like by the time you get it, you're kind of by yourself. If you wait till the beginning of next season, they're like on sale for like way cheaper. Just wanted to let everybody like they go on sale for way cheaper if you buy them a little later. I think that's just because they're not, I mean, you're in a new year and it's, of course, they're not the conference champions anymore or whatever, the divisional, but I know that like I bought the shirt and then I went I think it was like $80 or $70. It was a hoodie or something like that. And I went on and I saw it, then didn't get any of next year. It was only like $35, $40. I was like, oh, what the heck? Wish I would have got that one. But yeah.
And we finally found a respectful Lions fan, Nick, that's watching right now. He's we haven't ran into too many respectful Lions fans. Unfortunately, fan base, majority of them. It's kind of like I have a couple of friends that are Eagles fans, and they're very respectful, but majority of the fans are just no good. Like they just talk too much shit, and they sometimes go a little too far. Like a lot of Lions fans were kind of mocking Kyrie Jackson's death and everything, and I was like, okay,
Yeah,
guys.
it's too far. Well, that's why I had to, with the one guy that was talking, the dude. I mean, it wasn't like. I mean, the dude tried to frame it as if I was trying to bring my wife into it as an excuse, and it's like, no, 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 just leave her completely out of it. Like I like to debate, and that's just gonna muddy the waters up and make everybody feel weird and nervous. Like I'm my own person, I do my own thing and stuff, and I'm holding you accountable for all these messages and your thing that you're laughing at and liking and retweeting and saying. And one of them was like they were calling you like mental like things or whatever, and you look at your name right after that, and it's like, dude, you're really gonna say that to that guy? And that's why I got like kind of pumped up, man. It was because of those some of those things that people were saying, and like you're saying, like some of the people went a little too overboard and with stuff, and
Yeah, you don't have to make it that personal,
don't got to be
especially like
personal.
I kind of went at
Talk ball.
that the person that said that, I forget who it was, but I was like, dude, you're lucky that you're like if you died that someone wouldn't mock your death like that. Like that dude's family's probably
Not
seeing
cool at
that.
all.
Like it's not, you gotta like be respectful.
Like when David Montgomery got hurt, the only things I said was prayers up, David Montgomery. You know what I mean? I wasn't skip to my loo. I said shout out to the guy, man. I wish you health, health and happiness in life, because at the end of the day, like I've always preached, football is family, and this is all a family to me. All you guys are my family and my friends, and you're my people, man. And without it, like we wouldn't be able to fight this fight with cancer that I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to come on and talk to everybody.
Mm.
I'd be in a heap crying like I was when it first got the news, and everybody came out with the woodwork, even the Vikings themselves. Come on to a game, come do some things, come get out and about, and it helped the fight. And now you see, my wife getting further in her progression, fighting it longer and able to do stuff, and she's still able to cheer. And it would be too late now for her to be able to go to a game because she's too weak now. But back then it was like the perfect time, and it was just like those sorts of things, are what makes football so great. And I think some people lose sight of that, you know what I mean? And they start with these like personal attacks, and it's like, dude, if you just chirp about the ball game, we'll have plenty to chirp about, because hey, I mean, heck, there's so much to complain about in football. Like you don't even got to go personal. And that's what I was trying to tell people. It's like it's not always what you say, because you never know. It's like, let's say if I go around telling mama jokes, maybe this guy don't have a mom, or maybe something just happened between him and his mom. It's
Yeah,
just
especially if
not
not
my
good
place.
personal like that. Like it's football is family, but there is and there's sometimes keep in mind this is a sport, guys. Like this is entertainment. Like we don't have to go that far. These guys are human, like any one of us.
Right.
Like that's why I don't cheer for injuries. I don't like that at
No,
all.
not at all.
And talking
Fantasy
about
players
people
can't
that
do
passed
that.
away, like Kyrie
Yes.
Jackson wasn't years ago, and even if it was years ago, it's still not respectful.
No, it's
And that
terrible.
was a line that was way too far. And yeah, obviously you're gonna have fans like that do that. But yeah, like it just that especially that got a lot of attention, and that's why it was so big too. Like everyone was kind of chirping in, and and then they started tagging other people, and it was a whole thing.
It got out of control. It really did. And then when I found out, that it was a full grown man dancing in lion's attire, I'm like, oh my goodness, dude. Like, dude, what the heck? I thought you were a kid. Like, I was just laughing at home, like this must be some kid. And then he tells me like, no, I'm a full grown man with a wife, or I'm gonna get married and I got a kid on the way and stuff. And it's like, well, you better get your priorities right, man, because let me tell you something. As a man that's been through stuff, you're going to go through stuff. Whether it doesn't matter regardless of PC political stuff aside, as a human being, you will go through stuff in this life, and it's going to change you like that. The hard stuff in life, and not everybody's going to always have to go through the hard stuff early. It might hit you later, but there's going to be some time in life you're going to be humbled,
Oh
and
yeah, there's stuff
you
that
know
happens. A lot of stuff early on happened with me, being autistic. There was a lot of prejudice, which still goes on today with younger kids, especially in school, that are diagnosed early on because people just look at you differently, and that's a whole different topic. But a lot of people
Well, I
do
mean,
it
no, it used
early
to be in
on.
the league. It is a topic that I believe is something that is relevant in football, because it's like there used to be a mindset of those people can't be fans. You know, we can't have women in here. We can't have people with mental stuff in here. We can't have, you know, LGBTQ or this or that. We can't have all these things. And it's like, no, we can have all that because all those things are people and people are good people. Like there's a lot of great people in this world. And, and sometimes I think, you know, it got pushed off as like a, you know, one of the old school, like masculinity. Like we don't talk about our feelings. We don't do
Yeah, that's old
like,
school. Like I don't agree with any of that. And yeah, because I've seen like, and this he actually mentioned that he enjoyed my last week episodes with Coda Spitfire, the Vikings, and
heck yeah.
she's a female, and she's one of the biggest Vikings fans I know. So obviously that's not true, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Some great Vikings fans.
it's
So
all.
many are, you know what I mean? There's a ton of women Vikings fans. There's a ton of women football fans in the league, and I love it. You know, like I even like, and people might get mad at me for this. I even like the Swifties because they still come and cheer and yell and stuff. I don't mind them, man. Come on down to the
Hey,
game.
there's
You know what
some
I'm
like
saying?
actually Coda's a bit of a Swifty too, so there's some good ones out there. Yeah, I
There's
mean
some good
there's some
Hey,
that get
I
a little
like
too
everybody.
excessive. I will admit that's what kind of turned me off from it to begin with. But yeah, but I will be real. Like Taylor Swift is a bad singer, but my favorite, and she's my girl, man. She's my girl, Stevie Nicks. She is my
Oh
favorite
yeah.
singer. And she always will be. Like her voice is magical.
Yeah, Stevie Nicks. Heck yeah, dude. Yeah, I love it. I love the new NFL and the way that everything goes and how it is all inclusive. I know that some people still like I have friends that don't watch anymore after certain things, and I'm like, why would you let that ruin your football experience? Especially the one was is a Bengals fan and he's never seen Joe Burrow. How could you be a Bengals fan and not see the Joe Burrow era? He quit watching right when they got him.
Dude, what?
Yeah, he
Like,
watched his whole life
dude,
up
he was
till
the
then.
championship winner. Why would you give up watching right when Joe Burrow gets there? He's literally won the national
Because the
championship.
Kaepernick stuff was happening or whatever, and he got all bent out of shape. I'm never watching ball again.
You and honestly, if you did like that, yeah, I went with I watched Tampa Bay for a couple of years. I understand, like
I get
sometimes
it.
it just
You
happens.
know,
You know,
you get
sometimes you get
mad.
out of it. You know,
You got to come back.
but if you leave right when you get a first round pick quarterback that won the national
Best
championship,
time.
you honestly should not come back.
Oh, I feel so bad for the dude because it's like you must have watched like 20 years of losing. Now your team
Yeah,
is
but
really
to be
good.
real, they were good. They had some good seasons. Like Andy Dalton, they went to the Super
Yeah,
Bowl in the
Andy Dalton
'90s.
did go
Like,
to
come
the.
on, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I suppose that was some fun times. Chad Ochocinco, but it's been a long time since then, man. It's been a while
Oh,
since.
Chad, yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about him.
Bad Chad. That was his favorite player was Chad. Yeah, the Ocho Cinco jersey and all that stuff, and he's a big time Chad fan and stuff. But yeah, he didn't like that. And then like apparently once he says something, he's got to stick to it. And it's like you know nobody's holding you to this, right? Like you're the only
Yeah,
person holding you
he
to that.
puts a lot of pressure on himself, man.
I encourage everybody to not do that. Do not put so much pressure on yourself. Like it is football is a game at the end of the day.
Yeah,
And that's why we tell people about the personal stuff is because, you know, like your life is more important than this game stuff. You know, it's like, yes, we want the Super Bowl, we want all this stuff, but at the end of the day, I hope that everybody in the Lions organization and everybody in the Vikings organization walks away from this game healthy and happy. It might
yeah,
not be happy,
exactly.
but healthy as they were. You know what I mean? I want good health.
And yeah, I agree with you, Nick. Also, like the Lions had some tough seasons, and
Brutal.
I've been going back and back with the Lions fans that have been a little bit aggressive since they've been winning. But as a organization and as a whole, I'm really happy that they're finally getting some good years now, and they're actually a good team. In my opinion, they became more like the
What are
Packers
we
were
gonna
when Aaron
do?
Rodgers was with the Packers.
You know what
Like
I
the
mean?
Packers aren't much of a scary rivalry anymore. It's like, oh, grit and teeth. The fans are, we're
They're
having
pretty
back and
good
forth
though.
conversations. Like it's the Vikings and Lions. Let's be real. Like the
But I mean,
Packers,
like,
they have.
what about like in a couple years the Bears could grow more? Like, do you think that the NFC North should be changed?
I still feel like the Bears. I feel like there's at least they had to. play like the Lions. Like they had to have like almost a Super Bowl contending season or like Super Bowl contending team to be like serious guys that you're going to be looked as rivals. Like
I mean, I think it'll
they're
take a
kind of the
couple
joke of
years,
that
but
division, honestly, right now.
think about our division in like 2 or 3 years. Like that seems pretty tough. I almost wonder if they should redo the divisions or if it's a bad topic or like 'cause people have
Oh
been
my
talking
god!
about
You
it
know,
because of
I
the
wish they
records.
would
You
have
know what I
kept.
mean?
I wish they would have kept the NFC Central. Like that was really cool. Like I guess the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have won that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not sure if you remember, it was like the Lions, the Vikings, the Packers, and then the
And
Bears
Buccaneers.
and the Buccaneers. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe adding that one more team in our division would help it. It's just I feel like people don't realize that like when you're in the NFC North, it's quite hard because you're playing at Lambeau Field twice a year, which is tough. It's cold, it's brutal. You're playing at Soldier Field twice a year. It's tough, it's cold, it's brutal. And then the game where everybody thinks, oh, it's an indoors game, it's the Lions. That stadium has the most concrete-ish hard floor ever. It's like
Yeah.
AstroTurf style before they put up the new grass on it, and that's all it is. I hear it's still pretty hard. And even our stadium, brand new state of the line, I hear it still hurts to fall. So it's like if a state-of-the-art stadium hurts pretty bad, you know what I mean? It's got to hurt like heck going down the Lions and hitting that stadium floor. So you're playing 3 different organizations where you're either out in the cold getting smashed or you're you know what I mean, in a stadium and like that AstroTurf turf style, and you're playing these tough, hard, all the teams in the North pride themselves on being gritty or like, you know what I mean, punch you in the mouth style football. And it's a tough division, dude. I really think I've always thought that.
Yeah, NFC North has always been a very gritty, tough division. Like you look back in the early 2000s, or like not early 2000s, 2010s, let's just say, Jay Cutler, Matthew Stafford. Vikings were they've been going back and forth with quarterbacks, but they still had that tough defense. And the
Right.
Packers
Running back, Adrian Peterson.
And obviously you had like Teddy Bridgewater, my guy. He was my first quarterback. He was my first, because I watched Christian Potter towards the end. So Teddy Bridgewater was really my first quarterback watching, man.
Are you cheering for him then? Because isn't he on the Lions? Isn't Teddy over there on the Lions?
Man.
You can't cheer for him now. He's on the Lions.
No,
yeah, he might win a Super Bowl now without us. Oh my goodness.
Hell no, bro. The Vikings are winning.
It's got to be ours.
No, I'm saying Teddy Bridgewater. I apologize, but man, enjoy the ride. But he knows, the Lions can still do something. Like I'm not gonna count them out, but
I'm telling you, man, Lions are the 1998
I'm a Vikings fan, so I'm biased. But I feel like we got. I feel like the energy flows there. Like we're making a run this year, and we're gonna make a deep run.
Yeah. Oh, also, I heard the Vikings. Did you see that on TPP? The Vikings bought tickets and gave them to season ticket holders or whatever.
Yes, I love that.
Like $1,800 worth. And then I heard that they were like, you can't do that, and they're like, oh, it's not in the rule book, whatever.
Yeah,
so we can't do it.
They should I don't and Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan base has this issue as well because I went to a couple of their games, and there's more opposing fans than the own fans. Probably because it's in Florida, so they branch out fan base, fans a lot, especially since Tom Brady left. But it should be a majority of your own home team. It should not be Vikings fans are selling tickets to the Lions fans. Let's not do that.
Right. Yeah.
I almost feel like that should be a rule. You can't sell it to opposing fan base. I don't know. I feel like that's that's disloyal a little bit.
It's a hard thing to deal with. They're going to write it in the rule books after this. They're not going to allow teams to do that anymore. I guarantee you that's going to be a rule next year. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to allow teams to pay for more seats for them to get more traveling.
Yeah, they're going to make it a rule. We all know
but I do
that.
think that's a fun
might as well utilize it this
do.
year.
Because we got to fight fire with fire. Dan Campbell's bringing everything and the house and he's going to throw everything at us, but the kitchen sink style. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, do what we got to do, man.
Oh, it's going to be a gritty game. Now to end things, I want to know your prediction. What is your score prediction for the Vikings versus Lions tomorrow night?
I was really close when I was doing the Bears game. I almost got that one right. I felt so bad when I told them that we were going to beat them. They were like, "Oh, arrogant, huh?" I was like, "No, just thinking that way." I am scared. Okay, so here's my thing: is that the Lions average 30 points a game. When they play the Vikings, they usually get around the lower end of it, but when they're playing other teams, they get like 40 points sometimes, man. So I think this has got to be a higher scoring game if the Vikings win, and that's what I want, and that's what I'm cheering for and believe. So that I'm gonna go with, like what would it be, 28, 31, 4, 31, and Sam's got to put a touchdown in. 38-31 Vikings.
What was it?
38-31 Vikings.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's gonna be a gritty game. I'm gonna go with 34-24 Vikings win.
I like that too. That would be a lot less on my ticker. Mine is like I got it basically going up, and then them hitting being up at 28 points, kicking a field goal, getting to 31, and then us being right there with them, and Sam showing that thing that he showed all year, the thing that I talk about, the intangible ability to just stand in the pocket and in the red zone and throw a strike, the ability to stare fear right in the eye, to stare your destiny right there, and to just shut it all down, to just go, I'm going to make the pass that needs to be made, because that is what champions do. We know
Sam has been doing it.
We know that Sam's been doing it. He's got this clutch gene in him, and if he continues to do that, he will beat out these other quarterbacks and show why we think that he is superior, to some of these system guys. Because when you're able to just stare the barrel down and just do that, like Tom Brady used to do, and just, you know what I mean? When at the like 1 minute 30 mark, something like that, and just tear teams' hearts out. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, and Nick just put his prediction out. All right, not bad. 38-35 Lions. I think, but see it going either way, to be honest. I agree. Like, it could go, honestly, it's going to be a high scoring game. There's no doubt about that. So it's a tight game. So it could really go either way. But yeah, I'm really excited for this game. And I want to thank you for coming on, man. It was really great talking some football and talking about what's been going on, all the talks on Twitter, which is always entertaining.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm guessing your wrist is getting pretty sore too. We got to get you.
I've been so into this, man. I'm feeling.
It's been fun. I got this new one I haven't used yet. I got it for. It's supposed to it's like a gimbal, I guess. I'll send it to you. Send you one. I don't know how to use it. That's why I have it sitting here. I'm an idiot.
Oh, and Nick, thank you for coming on, man. I hope you have a great night.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. And what was Nick's score prediction?
38-35.
38-35, and he was saying that
the Lions are going to win.
Lions win 38-35. I could see that. I could definitely see that. I'm scared. Tell him I'm scared, man. I suppose you could hear me. I'm scared, Nick. I'm scared of your Lions a little bit. Got me. I'm also scared of my team, my own team's history. I'm just scared of failure and repetitiveness and stuff. And I'm sure you know that feeling. I'm sure you understand it very, very well. So everything, all the marbles on the line, and I wish your team good luck, man. I wish everybody good luck. But I hope
the same here, LOL.
I want Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl.
Let's go, baby. And that's
when's Chase coming back, by the way?
Chase, I'm trying which
their
player
defensive end. Is that his name, Chase, or what's his name? Their defensive end, their young guy that got hurt.
I'm trying to
Hutchinson.
think. Was it an old guy?
Sorry, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, Hutch.
Oh, yeah, he's out for the season. They say he could
maybe could come back to playoffs.
Yeah, he's done. Yeah, he got his injury's too significant to come back.
Really?
I mean, this season at least. Yeah.
I heard he might come back playoffs.
They said the Super Bowl. It's like that'd be his timeline. Be like the Super Bowl if they make it.
Oh, so it's not till that far.
Yeah.
Okay, I was worried. I was worried a little bit. I was like, man, more people, huh?
No,
they're already hard enough. Nick, your team's already hard enough as it is. not cheering for anyone to be injured or anything, but I'll certainly take the advantages, I guess, now that they're there or whatever. I hope everybody comes back healthy, but I do think that team will be significantly different without Montgomery as we keep seeing them play. So, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jahmyr Gibbs will run twice the manpower. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. And And yeah, thank you, Nick, for watching, and thank you, Mr. New, for coming on, man. It's it's kind of last minute, so I'm glad. I want to get some Vikings versus Lion content before the game, so I'm really glad we're able to do this. And go Vikings!
Absolutely, skull, dude. And
So
I didn't know that we were. I didn't. For some reason, I thought we weren't live or something, so I didn't share it. So sorry about that. But next time, I'll be sure to share the link before of the live. I didn't
oh
share it.
yeah,
I don't know where you had
this
it or not,
this is my
but
first time going live, and I do enjoy it. Like for occasions like this, before the Vikings play, and it's more like a before
reactions
pregame
after
type
too
of
would be
thing.
fun.
Yeah,
If you want to, as we go through these playoffs, I'm down for anything if you ever want and stuff. But yeah, I'll try to share it more and everything, and maybe we can get some of these Lions fans in here with us and stuff like you were saying. That'd be fun.
I want to get like I love that, man. I wanted to get the Lions fan, that get him in there and kind of like go back and forth, because I always like that content, like the Lions fans, like perspective, and the
Right. Well, because the only back and forth we got right now that we would really debate about would be like the quarterback battle, and it's like I wouldn't want to debate about that right now. I just want to focus on winning. So it's like,
Yeah, I'm
let's fight
good.
with other teams. That's a better idea. That's a much better idea. So
Yeah, exactly.
fight with these other playoff teams. Skull, my brother.
Skull, brother.